I have
Someone?
started it.
Okay. Okay. So I'm trying to share my screen. Then I'll start my recording. Okay. Did you see my screen,
Yep.
everyone?
Yes.
It's only show presentation, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Hassan bhai, I started. I'll start, right? Am I start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Hi everyone. This is Azad from from Bangladesh. It's a tech from event. Our tech from event started very frequently. So today's topic is software performance, productivity, and new technology. Currently, performance is a critical matter for a team or a company to maintain in application. TechFrom is gonna arranging a series of event of application performance development. Performance is not a joke that we can start from anywhere of ALM. ALM means application development lifecycle. It's supposed to be think from very early stage of software development, not only front end but also back end. We have started event journey from database in. Gradually it will touch architecture, front end application, middleware, back end, performance testing, development environment, and so on. Most experience have track record on working large enterprise application development. Especially it will on board on the series of event. So today's event is today's event is three speaker available for today's speech. Here is the three topics also available: video encoding and streaming using Azure Media Service, speech by Sia Sohjen. He is a Microsoft MVP and also MCT. His station 1 hour 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And second one is open source database on Azure Deep Dive. He's Naginder Singh Vidhi. He's data architect of Microsoft. He will start 5 p.m. And third is and develop, deploy, and manage data with Azure back blockchain. It's a speech by Muhammad Asif Wakar. He is a solution architect, ABN AMRO Bank, Singapore. So guys, how we will join? Copy the link and open it in your browser. Then it will show in a browser. And if you have a team application, then you can start from your team application. Else you can also use from browser. So join anonymously and see our presentation. So you are all are very warm welcome in our international program. We start. Thank you. So currently Sia will start his presentation. Thank you everyone for watching this presentation. So Sia, you can start now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Let me show my screen first. Okay. I think you guys can see my screen now.
Yes, we
Yeah, we
can
can
see.
see.
Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon and good evening in some of the location. Okay. My name is Chia. Someone in the community they call me Snake Chia. Okay. I'm a Microsoft MVP for Windows development for this for 2020 to 2021. Previously, I am also a Microsoft MVP for Azure and Windows development. Okay. Okay. So I have been like doing as a software engineer for the since 2020 I think 2010 or 2011 sometime like that, and then I become a MCT Microsoft Certified Trainer in back in 2014, and a year later 2015 I become a MVP. Okay, I am specialized in Windows development and IoT things. I like to play electronic gadgets. That's why I have to do some IoT things. Okay, but today the topic I'm going to share is a bit not really IoT stuff, but it's quite I personally I feel that it's very interesting things, especially recently the this COVID-19 pandemic. It it basically grounded everyone and locked everyone back in their own house. So this is seriously affected our community meetup, right? Just like now we used to be in person meetup, but now we have to do it virtually. Okay, so um this thing is come across me actually this Microsoft have this Azure Media Services quite some time, but they Microsoft didn't really heavily promoting these features not until like I said just now that this pandemic grounded us, and we are everyone are trying to get something done through virtually. So it come across to me in earlier I would say about mid of March, because it's we are trying to sourcing some of the solution for us to continue one of our global event. Is called Global Azure Bootcamp. It is from an in-person event changed to a virtual event. That's why we're starting sourcing some of the solution, and I come across this Azure Media Services. It is a very interesting thing. So I go through this thing, and I would like to share with the community. Okay. So let's look at this. Today's topic is the technology behind the Azure Media Services. So let's see what is it. In today's session, I'm going to share with you is on these three main things: encoding, streaming, playback. We're adding a caption, and the live stream. Okay. We are going to adding the talking about a bit on the live stream. Okay. So let's see. What is the media on Azure? Okay. Basically that we see a lot of things that a lot of media platform that we can share our video or live stream video, such as like YouTube stream. There are quite a lot of the platform that we can do it on the on the internet. So what make different that this Azure that media services is different from others? Okay, so on the media Azure Media Services is the intelligent cloud platform that are based on built on top of the Azure, and it provide the secure, intelligent, and for the public for the enterprise as well. Okay, so basically, we can see we have three things, three main things here. One is talking about a media and entertainment, which is like we are creating the content. After we create the content, we have to rendering the video file, and then we do some video editing stuff, and then after that we did like find a place to store it, archiving it, or maybe we do some machine learning on our video, so that we can getting this getting out all the all the metadata from the from the particular video. Okay, and after we can create a content, we manage it. So of course we want to like distribute it. Okay, so if you distribute through the we may distribute our video, in general speaking, we are distribute to a YouTube or through Facebook. So but the thing is, you probably you have you have to given out the some of the copyright things or some of the control to the platform. Okay, so and the this Azure Media Services actually can like give you back all this control to your own hand. Okay, and then there is a media creation part and entertainment part. What about this? Beside that, what can the Azure Media Services provide? Okay, for the public safety portion, we can actually leverage the Azure Media Services to do the high-scale ingest for the public surveillance intelligence, and from there we can keep the video stream from the all the surveillance camera, and then from there you can feed to your machine learning, do a facial recognition kind of things, and also for searching. Okay, such as you can like IoT camera from some of the at the traffic light junction to do this try to monitor the traffic situation, to make the traffic light more smarter. Also, you can like try to see the camera can like capture those who are run through the red light at the junction. Okay, so there is that can be done in the Azure Media Services. Okay, and then actually that Microsoft a lot of video related like this team. Actually, they are based on the Azure Media Services. Okay, that to perform this kind of streaming, the Skype or the in the YAML or the India on the Stream Microsoft Stream platform. So they actually based on top of these media Azure Media Services. Okay, talking about the this Azure Media Services is actually built on top of Azure. So let's see what does it use in the services that actually in the Azure. Okay, it is media services. We're using the Azure storage, the block storage. Okay, we use the compute, we use the network, we use the connective service, and then of course we need to use the CDN, content delivery network, because like your video you may not know that where your viewer are coming from. Okay, that is the it wouldn't be a make sense that you just store your video in one single location. Okay, so that's where the content delivery CDN coming in. Okay, so from here we can see we have quite all of these things is actually built on top of these Azure, okay, so existing services. Okay, let's look at the encoding part. Okay, encoding, streaming, and playback. Okay, this is very, very interesting things. Okay, so let's see how does it going to work. Okay, so this is a very extensive multi-tenant platform. Okay, imagine you want to like having some event, okay, to stream, okay, or do recording to distribute a video. How does it actually going through the process? First, okay, you will be like crowd or upload the video file, okay, to the crowd. Okay, this live ingestion. Okay, and then you need to do a transcoding. Okay, you need to encode it. Okay, to the format that can be view on the multiple platform, because today we are not living in just a Windows era. We have like most of I noticed that most of people this day they are watching the video from their mobile phone, and the mobile phone have an Android, you have an iOS. Okay, so there is that we have to like make the things video capable to stream to various devices. Okay, and the indexing. So we can from there we can like using the AI to like identify, okay, smartly about this video clip is actually belong to like what is the theme for that? Is that happy, or there's a marketing team? So you can extract a lot of the meta data from the from the video itself using the artificial intelligence, so that it provide you the search how to say that the search capability. Okay, it's much more easier. Okay, and then of course if you are a content creator, okay, you if you are making your career on creating a content, of course, you want to find all means to protect all your content creation, right? So this is where the DRM encryption coming in. Okay, and Azure Media Services is working closely with all the content encryption, DRM encryption party owner, so they will make sure that this is 100% compatible with all the industry standard. Okay, and then we need to like go live, because when you do all your content creation, you do your marketing, and then you do your encryption, okay, secure your content, you need to deliver that things. Okay, you need to deliver your content to the final user so that they can watch it, so that if you do a monetization on that, so your marketing can get some money on the advertising things, right? Okay, so that we need to like stream this thing, go live, and then we can leverage a multi CDN that if we needed. Okay, and finally, it is prayer. Okay, which is the playback. How are they playback? Okay, in this Azure Media Services, we have Microsoft have their own Azure Media Services player, so that it is using the HTML5 technology. You can just embed it in your browser, and then you just can stream it accordingly. Okay, and then for that things is the good thing is it's just similar to like all the media streaming platform that are in the market. They can like choose depend on they will smart. This intelligence detect your device size, your what type of device that you are using, what type of screen size, and what type of network capability that you're having, so that they can choose stream accordingly. There won't be like if you are just watching the video from your mobile phone, right? It's ridiculous that that is stream a 4K video to your 3G cell phone, right? So probably they will smartly to choose the probably you are just stream as a 480 pixel, or they only probably stream 320, or if they have a better network connectivity, maybe they should stream at a 720p, right? Okay, so this is the player that is smart enough to do perform all these things. Okay, so before we are moving into the details, so we talk about some technical things. It's more basic. It's just good for the knowledge things. It's like how does this media file look like, right? Okay, so how does the media file look like? Is that this is just a typical example of a media file. Like example is an MP4 file. Okay, we will have a header. Okay, it's shown on the screen here on the left hand side there. Okay, and then there is the data payload. Okay, which is how the video file look like, and the video data, and then the audio data. So there is encoded media data file. Okay, so let's take an example. How does it translate into a typical MP4 file? Okay, and this is a typical MP4 file. So we have MP4 file as a header. So we know there is an MP4 file, and then there is a codec, the encoding. That is, you always say that you'll notice that there's a H.264 encoding or AAC encoding or codec audio track, or the MP3 encoded audio track. Okay, so this is the typical example of the media file. And there's a question here is, why do we need to compress our video, right? I started my early day of career as a software tester, and then I spent 15 years in the network and server infrastructure, design network and secure the network. So during the time that we always want something have the data is always want to be full, right? The more detailed, the more good. But we come to the video or the media or this thing, we talk about compress. Why we need to do all this compression? This is is very genuine question. Okay, so let's see. Why do we need to do the compress our video? Isn't it that we stream the more detail, the better, right? Of course, the more detail is the better, but we need to like look at the reality also. Okay, so take an example here, a picture, because a video, the movie that we are watching, or the drama stream from the TV, it depends on region. Your TV broadcast could be a 24 frame per second, or could be 30 frame per second, which is like we commonly see on the on our like mobile phone, how fast that you can record, or some of the recorder that say 30 FPS, or there's a 60 FPS, right? So there is how many frame per second. So actually, a video, a movie is a moving picture. You can stack 30, if there's a 30 FPS, which is a 30 frame per second, you stack 30 photo, okay, together, and then you feed it in 1 second. So that is a motion, become a motion picture. Okay, so let's take an example. Here is a full HD 1080p resolution image. Okay, with the resolution will be the 1080p is the 1920 times 1080 pixel. Okay, with a 24-bit color per pixel. Okay, you are looking at 5.93 megabyte, okay, per frame. There's a storage needed, just one frame. Okay, this one frame is only part of, is not a full second. This is just one frame. We consists of 5.93 megabyte of the storage. Then in 1 second, we're talking about 30 frame per second. One frame of the motion picture, it will cost you 177.98 megabyte. Okay, 177.98. So it's about 178 lah. Okay, so imagine you are watching let's say, when we don't talk about the end game things. So typical movie, we are looking at about 90 minutes to 120 minutes, which is 1.5 hours to 2 hours movie, right? Okay, so if we are talking about 2 hours movie, which is which is 120 minutes, so we are talking about 100. We're taking the number of 177.87 times 60 second times 120 minutes. It gives you the number of 1.22 terabyte. This is a super huge storage. If you distribute your this movie, okay, in this raw format of data, okay, you are, I can't remember how many DVD file that this you may need, right? Okay, so from here, this is just a video on the motion picture only. We have not included the audio track, right? The video itself without the audio is really 1.22 TB. Do you think that this is possible, or this is a smart way to like stream over to your the mobile network to your mobile phone? That's definitely insane, right? Okay, even though you tell me that you have a unlimited data plan for your mobile services, but I doubt that the telco will allow you to like stream up 1.22 TB in 2 hours. Okay, so that's why we need a compression on the video itself. Okay, so then we come up with this codec, okay, which is a coder and decoder, which is you have to encode the video and the audio to a smaller size, so that it is without losing too much of detail, but user can view it or watch it more entertaining. Okay, so in this compression mode, we have of course there's a multiple still others things compression type, but mainly is fall into these two category. What is a loosey compression? What is a looseless compression? Okay, let's look at what is called loosey compression. Okay, loosey compression is like they are in exact the approximation of the partial data discard. So which is like you look at the look at the picture here. Okay, you are you looking at the top one is a low compression, which is quite high quality on the CAD photo, right? Okay, so that is on the higher quality. But if you this lossy compression will reduce, okay, reduce the detail. So you look at the picture there, you look at like the cat on the bottom one. Okay, if you form a distance, you wouldn't look too much different, right? But if you're on a very big screen, like if you have a 60-inch TV set, or you want to do a projector project to a 100-inch projection, so you will see all the pixelate things. So you is very you will like be very distorted. Okay, the movie is not the video is not good. Okay, so this called lossy compression. We try to like reduce that much to a certain level that is good for streaming, but is also good for the storage also, not losing too much detail. Okay, the other type is called lossless compression, which is they use the algorithm to keep most of the original data, okay, so that we can reconstruct back during playback. Okay, by contrast, the lossy compression is only reconstruct to a certain level, very close to the original data. Okay, but not all. Whereas the lossless compression algorithm will allow you to create more close to the original data. Okay. So there's a main of these two compression type. And okay, this is type of a codec. Okay, so we can compare all these things. It's like the H2.264. Okay, is a lossy compression. Okay. Then this day is the new standard coming out is called HEVC, or the 265 compression. It's also lossy compression. And sorry. So with this thing, the new standard, a lot of the player try to move over is the this 265 standard. Okay, slowly we see a lot of people, a lot of platform to adopt this thing, this standard. Okay, this is on the video side. What about on the audio side? Okay, audio is also very important in our when we're watching the video. Okay, and yeah, okay, so this is the field compression fields type of the things that we use in the audio compression. Okay, the most commonly used is the MP3 compression and the AC3. Okay, which is they come with the Dolby digital sound, which is some you will find that if the compression with the AC3, that you will have a higher space that required for that things. Okay. Okay. Now we have enough of the talk. Let's look at the demo. How are we going to like upload a video and create this encoding part? Okay. So let's go to my Azure here. Okay. I'm going. So how we're going to create all these things is it's very simple. It's not that complicated. So let's start with today's demo here, which is first I create a resources. Okay, we create resources. I search for media services. Okay, I create a media services. So I will give my these media services a name called 2020-07-18 AMS Azure Media Services demo. Okay, it is okay. MS demo. Okay, good. Green is good. And then put a subscription name, and then I create a new resources group. Okay, that resource group I call 2007 18. Okay, location, well, depend on where you want to stay. Okay, maybe I will just choose my closer to me, which is Southeast Asia. Okay, and then it also need me to create a storage account. So let's create a storage account as well. Okay, create a new storage account. It call is a 2020 0718. Okay, store. Okay, put a name storage. Okay, it's easier so that we will like able to like easy to read. Okay, so what kind of account we can use this storage general purpose v2, a new one. Okay, and then we can click just OK, and then it look good now. So click the checkbox here, and then we just create a media services. Okay, so this will take minutes or so to get all these things ready. Okay. Let's see, have I media services created? Not yet. So for here, we are creating these resources. Okay, now it seems to be ready. Go to the resources here. Okay, so this is what we created. This Azure 2020 0718 MS demo. Okay, so this is the portal that you can work with. Okay, most of the cases we are not going to do this uploading your video or setting up the thing in this manner. You probably will like create a website or an app, leverage the API set to upload the video from another site. You wouldn't be like directly let the user to direct upload using your portal, but here this is just to demonstrate that we can do it this way. Okay, then how is the flow goes, right? Okay, let's start from there. So we want to start it from is the asset. What we call asset is, which is your video file. Okay, this is where you put your video file. Okay, so first of all, let's say we need to like upload a video. Okay, we create upload. Okay, so we check this box so that we can like browse or drop the video out. Let me get a video, bring up a video first so that we can like uploading it. Okay. Where is my video? My little video. Okay. Okay, so let me bring this video, drag and drop here. This is a very small video I am creating for one of my a community intro video. Okay, so just click like that. Okay, it's uploaded. Yes, good. So we just close it. So we can see this video file. They will automatically generate a GUI, another separate file name for this. Description will be the original file name that we have. Okay, that's where it's created in. So from here, we can click inside this video. Okay, you said got nothing here. Okay, we got nothing here. So what we need to do here is we need to encode it. Okay, still remember just now I said that we have encoding, like we can select MP4, all these things, right? So let's click the encoding. Okay, so in the encoding, let's see the drop down menu here. We just use the media encoder standard will do. The premium will have more encoding that you can do it. You can have more features. Will generate more type of the encoding. Okay, so support more different different size. So we just stick with the standard first. Okay, if you have time, you can just export to the premium part. Okay, so it's good started. Okay, and then the encoding preset. Okay, so let's go down here. You can see we have like multiple all these things, right? Okay, we have like 264 multiple bit rate at 1080p, audio 5.1, or there's only 1080p, but no, not specifically to audio 5.1. Wow, this is why they're so complicated here. So many options here is because in some situation or some organization, they're required to a specific type of streaming bit rate and the audio requirement. Okay, but most of the case, if we are consumer facing or public facing, okay, we may want to just select the content adaptive multiple bitrate MP4 so that they will automatically create all the supported things there. Okay, so we just choose here, and then the rest, the job name, we just leave it as it is. The output file name, leave it as it is. Okay, and then we just click the create. Okay, so when you create, you will create a job. Okay, you create a job. So let's look at the job part. Okay, just was access. Now it's a job. So in the job here is the processing. Okay, so which is now they're starting the encoding of the of your video file. Okay, how fast or how long does it take is totally depend on your source file, which is asset file just now that we are updated. Okay, so just now the file that is pretty small. Okay, it is just update just finish the complete. So you probably take less than a minute because time start is 1836 and then this still 1836. Okay, so there is about minutes like that. Okay, so it's the encryption is done. Okay, it's encoded to the MP4 format. Okay, so remember just now when we are creating this services at time, we have created this. Let me see, just now the resources group that we are created is called 20. So many resources group. Okay, let's go back to here. This services, this resources group. Okay, in this resources group, we create a storage account. Why we need a storage account, right? Okay, so let's look at we detour a bit from the video part. Okay, look at this storage account here. Okay, so in this storage account, we just do the storage explorer here. Okay, look at the block storage here. Okay, actually the asset file, okay, that you uploaded is come to here. Okay, this is a file. This is the original MP4 file that we uploaded. It's stored here. This is the original one, and then this is the encoded one. Okay, this is the encoded one. From this encoded part here, okay, and this encoded part here, you can see we have like generate this is 720p is 1280 times 720. Okay, and then we have the audio. Okay, this is the 1080p 1920 times 1080. And then this is, we have a smaller one, 320 times 180, 480 times 270, 640 times 360, 960 times 540. So this is, they create this many all these different type here is because we want to make sure that with different devices, okay, you can have they will encode it into a necessary format, okay, to support. Okay, you will might wondering why there's no 4K here, or what about there is a 2K format here, or QVGA like that. Okay, yeah, there is actually, yes. Remember just now when we create our video encoding that time, we are selecting the standard. If you select the premium version, okay, you have to pay a little bit more. They can actually encode into the 4K video. Okay, so there is there's we detour a bit. We come to watch see this actually is we need a storage to store your media services. Okay, now let's go back to the to this video file here. So now we come back to asset here. Okay, we have a newly created asset, right? Okay, this is the original file. Okay, this is the encoded standard encoding file. Okay, so let's go inside here and see. We still cannot publish it, okay, because we just encoding. Remember just now we have talked about we need to upload the asset, encoded it, and then we need to create the DRM as well, right? We need to protect our file. Okay, so how we going to protect our file here? Okay, so we need to stream locator here. Okay, we don't have any stream locator, so we have add a stream locator first, or we can straight away create here. See, we create a stream locator here. We can select the predefined, we give a name, a stream locator. Let's say okay, just leave it as it is first, or maybe you say 2007 18 demo 1. Okay, predefined clear 1. Okay, clear streaming only, or download and clear streaming, so or download only. So we just want to stream it, so we just leave it as a clear streaming only. Okay, so we don't have any content policy here. Okay, and then the expiry time. So when you create this link that people can stream, of course you want to look at a you can set this video can able to watch until when this link. Okay, you can create a lot of multiple of this link one. Okay, if this link expire, you can create another link to same asset. It's okay. Okay, but for by default here, 2120. So is 100 years later. Okay, so we just let it be, and then we click it add. Okay. So from here, they will automatically created a stream locator here. Okay, and then you have a stream locator here. Okay, so in this at here, we have this streaming URL, and then in this portal here, we can actually reload the player here. You can actually start it. Okay, so we are starting the endpoint, which is this streaming URL will be available. Okay, and then reload the player. It's still okay. Yes. Now, let's see what's wrong. Reload the player and see. So strange. Let me see what is. Okay, let's try this and copy this stream URL to the Azure Media Player, and let's see can we get the things playback. Yep, actually you can. It just for some reason it did not share that part. Okay, so here there's oh, okay, because just now when I share my screen, I did not include the system audio. That's why you didn't hear anything. So we can there is a video file that actually just now that encoded. Okay, so is this encoded from here? Is encoded from here, so that you can copy this string URL, okay, and place it into this media player so that you can play it. Okay, so from here, if you are creating a website or you're creating your design, okay, you can get the code here. If you get a player code, you can get this code into your HTML file. Okay, it's according the instruction here, pretty straightforward, so that you can playback your video accordingly. Okay, so this is how we generate a simple video file. Okay, a very simple video file that a way to create. But in most of the use case, we wouldn't do it in this way, because you probably will leverage the API for this for this Azure Media Services to upload the file from another UI. Okay, so let's see the other thing. What can we do is let's go back to our presentation slide. Okay, start the demo. Okay, caption. Okay, caption is like is for the wording is part of the accessibility features. Okay, so we can put in the caption here. Okay, so this caption is time synchronized with the media. Okay, and well, you will like questioning how I if the 2 hours video, so how I make would get someone to like sitting there for 2 hours and clicking the play button and pause, play and pause, and then go to write down every single word that the speaker talk. If you are taking a movie, it's okay. You probably have the script for each of the actor. But what if others like I'm talking about now, and then later on you do a recording, you want to like transcribe my talking, all these things, it's impossible to get someone to sitting there to do it. But probably old day, yes, right. But now we are in 2020, you shouldn't do this kind of things. So we have a better way to do this way. Okay, but before I look into the this caption, okay, there is some different. A lot of people will confuse this caption with the transcript and some of the caption with the subtitle. Okay, so let's have a quick look on this thing, which is the caption versus transcript. Is like the transcript is like it's just a text. It's a no time information. They don't put in the time things there. Okay, what time from what time you say what thing, what you have said. Okay, but the caption is a time information. There is a timestamp. Later I will show you the sample. Okay, it's a timestamp information there, and the caption is required by law in US and some of the European country, but it's not all the country in the world, but in some region, yes. Okay, and what about the subtitle? Okay, this is very common. We did not we get it wrong when we go to the movie cinema for movie. Okay, there is a subtitle. Okay, we saw there's a subtitle. So are they the same? Maybe yes, maybe not, right? Okay, the caption is assuming viewer cannot hear at all. Okay, even though the non-speech element is like the door open, you probably see some of the DVD or some of the movie that they will say a car passing by sound, okay, door opening sound, okay, the wind blowing sound, like that. Okay, so that is a caption. Okay, and then the subtitle is the can hear the talking. It's just if I'm watching a Japanese movie or I'm watching a Spanish a French movie, I don't understand French, I don't understand Japanese. Okay, I just watching the subtitle, which is there translate into the English. Okay, so I'm reading the things. I know I can hear the sound, but I just don't understand what he's talking. So that is called subtitle. So caption and subtitle there is a differences here. Okay, closed caption and open caption is like the closed caption is is you can like it's on a separate track. Okay, you can turn it on and off if you want to turn it off, because like some personally I don't really like a subtitle or caption all these things, because it's very annoying, with distract. I'm watching the movie, even though I'm watching some Japanese movie and I don't understand what they are talking about. Korean movie, I don't understand what they are talking about. I just turn off the subtitle or the caption. I don't want to like distort my I just focus in the word downstairs, and I miss the whole movie part, right? Okay, so and the open one will be permanently burned into it, so you can't like it's always there, you cannot close it. Okay, so the caption part, that is how we're going to put a caption in. Okay, like the post-production one, you can just like put it after that. Like today we have a recording this video, and then like you want to do put on a caption, so you can like what we do later will show you how you can do that things. Okay, and the live caption is by a person type in real time, which is very retarded thing like that, right? Unless the person will have my script I'm going to talk, and I talk according to the script, so that can match back the things. Otherwise, that we have a new way to do that thing, is like in the Skype we have can control on this thing. Okay, so let's move on and see. Okay, so this caption format, we have a pretty lot of format here, but the web VTT is a HTML base, is what commonly used now. Okay, so this is a typical VTT file on the example. Okay, so you can see that there is a time stamp here is which is 000. Okay, the 003 like that. Okay, hi guys, blah 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 like that. Okay, so this is how it's going to there's a timestamp and that's going to talking about here. Okay, so let me quickly show you how I'm doing this. So we can intelligently do this thing is we can use this called video indexer. Okay, it's under connect. It's part of connected service. Is and you can go to www.video.index.ai here. You can do upload the video here. Okay, we can upload a video like this. Let me show you the video that I'm going to upload here. Okay, where is the screen? Okay, submit here, and let me upload the file. Let me upload the file. Okay, so I just put a name demo here and then private English subtitle. Okay, we just upload here. Okay, so it will take some a few minutes like that. Okay, hopefully my internet is good here and no delay on that. Okay, awesome. Okay, so then I see the video indexing is running on the 10% already. So these two actually is the same video. I just do the testing so that you can. This is uploaded. So let's see how about this thing. Okay. Okay. So okay. Okay. So this indexer here that okay. So this indexer you can see that can identify how many people face okay inside here in this video stream here. Okay, so they will tell you that appear in 83%. Okay, this is me. Okay, so they appear the 83.3% in this video. Okay, what about this guy? This guy also 83.3. Okay, because we stand next to each other, 83.3 is okay. So this guy only 5.95, which is just walking past maybe later. Okay, so you can see all the, so you can identify the face inside there. Okay, and then inside a topic, it's talk about business, social, Google, and two more topic, and then the person, 18 label, human face, blah blah blah. Okay, and Microsoft sentiment is 15.259, blah blah blah. Okay, so they can give you all this analytic. Okay, and the timeline that is like, what is this guy talking about? Okay, so with this thing, you can download, okay, the VTT file here, okay, which is in here. This is click on the download. This you can download in the JSON format, VTT format, TXT format, CSV format. Okay, so it depends on what this SRT format. Okay, in the YouTube they're using. So it depends on you're going to attach this VTT file to where. Okay, so after you download that thing, you open it and see this will be going to be like this, the VTT file after the encoding. Let me open the file. Okay, so this will be the file. This is the file that I downloaded. So this will be the file that is talking that they use AI to extract it. So at the same time, they give you a note here, which is they tell you that how confident, okay, this section they are. Okay, 1%, 1.0 is 100%. Okay, so basically here is a 0.7752 means that this section to here is with a confidence of 77.52%, which is correct. Okay, which is there are something which is fair enough. That the support say, hi guys, Chester here, and with me is Chair, is not need Chair. Okay, so I can like edit this thing put like this. Okay, so can do something like that. Okay, so here on one of the organizer speaker for insider. Okay, it's insider actually. So we are putting this insider dev tour. Actually, this is the last year event dev tour. Okay, so you can edit the file like that. It's much more simple that you are listening to the video and then you have to type everything and marking with the little bit of timestamp, right? So after you can doing this, you can save the file. Okay, when you save the file, you can actually coming back here. Okay, and choose the. Of course, we did not upload that video into here. Okay, you can actually upload the caption file here and select the caption file that you're having. Like, let's say putting this thing. Okay, so they will upload the caption file here. Okay, and then basically this is all you have to do already. So in this media player here, because we did not put in the compressed part. Okay, so actually from here you can, in the advanced option here, you can add the track kind, let's say caption, let's say just if there's an English. Okay, and then the language is English. Okay, select English here. Okay, and then this is the URL link, which is similar to here. Okay, should be similar to that. Okay, and put it here, and then we replace this ISM to the file name. Okay, of your VTT file. Okay, .vtt. Okay, then you update the player. Okay, update the player, you see this is one more caption part coming up, so that you can on your caption and close your caption. But this one is not the thing is not meant for this thing, so of course they won't be showing up correctly. To show that there is a correctly version, you can. This is here. Okay, let's run it here. Okay, so there's the caption is on, so you can see something like this. Okay, so you can see a speaking. You can see there's the caption running on the video there. Okay, so this is how you are adding the caption there. You want to edit the caption, you can edit accordingly in as a text file and then attach the text file to it. Okay, so this is on the caption part. I think I may be overrun for a few minutes. Okay, hopefully you guys don't mind. Okay, let's go finally the live stream. Okay, I'm not going to do the live stream demo, but we have a very quick go through what is actually going to look like. Okay, this live stream. Okay, so this is a typical live stream event. When you are doing some event, you are using these Azure Media Services. Okay, so this you create your live stream. Before you stream, you will create a link first, right? So that people know where to watch the video, right? So in most typical way is we will have an event website. Okay, we have an event website, and then we will embed the video player, the Azure Media Services player. Okay, on the center page, then make it very big. Okay, so that we have to give the link like just now you see there. We have a link there. Okay, so you typically create the link, update the link in the day before, and then we'll start pre live streaming, which you probably like, okay, you have a timer counter there to count down the timing, and then we say, okay, is the event, the awesome event will start in 15 minutes, and then start coming down, right? And then come to the 00, they will like, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to whoever where you are. Okay, welcome to this blah, blah, blah event. So there's a live streaming where it started. Okay, so probably the event that lasts you for 120 minutes. After the event, you probably will like doing a post-event survey. You probably the post-event survey, you're posting a question, the QR code or question there for the next 15 minutes, and then your event will end. So how does this then probably you will asking a question is how I'm going to charge for all these things, right? Okay, it's not going to be free. Okay, and somehow we have a CDN, we have to like all these things have to be so all these services wouldn't be like coming for free, right? So how to be charged? Is that all the entire event is being charged? Let's look at it here. Okay, so when you create the link and you create, which is you create the event, you are not going to be billed. Okay, it's not charging anything. As soon as you pre-live your event, okay, until your post-survey event, until you click stop streaming, okay, so until you click the stop streaming, that is a billable, okay, and then after post-event, they are not going to, you are not being billed at that portion. So in this example here, you are actually being billed by what? The 50 minutes start and end. So total 30 minutes, and your streaming is lasts for 120 minutes. So your total bill you will get is 150 minutes bill for the stream services. Okay, so the stream services is actually including the CDN services. Okay, so you can go to the creation here. Let's close this thing. Live stream. Okay, so this is a live stream event. Okay, so add a live stream event here. Okay, so give a live stream name, let's say a demo live stream. Okay, sorry, Encoding connect number. Okay, live stream demo.
It's a training which is online.
Okay, so you can put as a description. Okay, so there's a couple of things here. Is a pass-through or standard or premium. Okay, so there is a pass-through is like if you are using some of the broadcaster use software like the OBS, you can do the encoding before you pass through the Azure media services live stream. So you will be get cheaper. Okay, because pass through there, which is the Azure, is only provide you the distribution channel, the CDN services. Is not through they don't do the encoding for you. Okay, so it's a pass through. So if you are using that a very commonly used, is called the open broadcaster software, the OBS. Okay, then you can put the pass through, select the pass through. Okay, so let's say I select a pass through, and then they can select this RTMP. Okay, this mostly used in the OBS kind of things. Okay, and then the precision input URL just TP as it is, the sample input URL, the start event. Okay, start live event, yes or no? Definitely no, because when you click yes, they will start. Okay, so here next to add once. Okay, here we just like register input as blah blah blah. Okay, you just leave it as it is. So leave it as it is. Okay, then you create. Okay, so this will take less than a minute. Okay, so you have this live stream event. Okay, this is the ingest URL. Okay, this is the URL that if you are streamed from OBS directly, you just put this URL into your OBS, the streaming URL there. Okay, just put it link in. Then your browser there, you'll be able to watch the same thing. Okay, so how do you control this event activity? Click it in. Okay, so if you click start here, it means that it start, right? Okay, so it start building. Okay, until you click it stop. Okay, and then if you don't need it anymore, it's a setting here. You can see the setting that we are putting input access like that only. Okay, so if the event finish, then you remember to click stop. Otherwise, you will be continue build. Okay, and if you want to delete, just delete accordingly. That is a live stream. It's very pretty straightforward. Okay, then a general discussion here is commonly asked, like because when I discuss with my team, okay, and some of the friends that Okay, they're asking me why you want to use this Azure Media Services live stream. Why can't you just use a YouTube live stream or Facebook live stream, right? Okay, yes, definitely. You can do that things. But what about think about this thing? Is like if you are trying to collect, let's say you want to do a concert or a pay event. Okay, how are you going to do it during it with if you are streaming with a YouTube channel? Right, it's difficult to do. Right, think about it. Like you if you create a website, okay, you require people to log in. Okay, so when they sign up the things, which is like selling the ticket, the people need to log in and then only can see the media player page. Then you can simply do a pay event online. You require people to log in. So this would be a good idea to have it. Okay, so let me see. I think there's only one last slide that here will be. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all for my presentation. Okay. So okay.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hi, Chia. Can you hear me? I think there's some network interruption. So, can I invite our next presenter? Our next topic is open source database on Azure Deep Drive, and our speaker is Mr. Naginder Singh Bhardi. So, Mr. Naginder, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you please share your screen and continue your presentation?
Sure, I will do that. Okay, let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. Are we good to go? Shall I start or are we waiting for something?
I think we can start.
Okay. Okay, so hi friends. So today's topic that I'm going to speak on is open source databases on Azure. We will deep dive into the details of the service, what offerings do we have there, and I will also discuss about some features of the service and some, I would say some enterprise level scalability features that we provide, which can be leveraged to increase the scalability of your web systems or your backend systems as well, right? So first, to introduce myself, I am Naginder Singh Virdi. I am a technical specialist in Microsoft Singapore, and I started my career as a C Sharp developer, then into support, and went into databases and all. Right now, I am also learning Python. I am also learning few other, I would say, PL SQL, PG, PL SQL languages. So because of that, I think I call myself confused coder because I'm not sticking to one language. This is my GitHub page where I put a lot of scripts and demos into. This is my LinkedIn URL in case if you guys want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you can connect there, right? So let's begin with the session now. So open source databases on Microsoft Azure, right? These are the three flavors which are currently offered. which is MySQL, PostgreSQL, and MySQL and MariaDB. Right? These are the three different flavors of databases that are offered as a community edition. And when I say community edition, it's not a fork. It's a direct out and out extension of the open source code, which means all the open source flavors, all the open source features which the community contributes to can be leveraged on this platform, right? Apart from offering the managed community MySQL or PostgreSQL or MariaDB, right? What benefit that you get out of Azure is the capability of elastic scaling with the high availability. We will talk about high availability a little later, and we will talk about scalability also. So you get out of the box scalability features, you get out of the box high availability. In fact, this service is the only service in the market which is 99.99% SLA driven. Apart from being highly available and scalable, it is also a secure and a compliant service, which I will talk about a little later as well. And then you get the possibility of deploying this across 56 regions of Azure. Wherever Azure is available as a data center or as a region, this service is available and you can deploy there across the whole world. And the other best part is it is integrated with a lot of the Azure other services, ecosystems, be it serverless computing, be it cognitive services, or many other capabilities that are offered on Azure. These services are easily integrated into them. Right? Moving ahead, let's go into a deep dive into the product. So in the deep dive, what I will do is I will go through the detail of the service, the architecture behind the service. How do we offer you as a community edition? How do we offer the high availability and the scalability in the product? Right, we'll go a little deep into the architecture of the databases on Azure, and then I will get into some of the features and some demos that I have for you. So before we get into the details of the database service, I want you to understand the whole model in which the service is deployed on Azure, right? So typically, whenever you have a Azure subscription, there is an account which is linked to that subscription, right? Within the subscription, you can have multiple resource groups. And within these resource groups, you can deploy the PostgreSQL or MySQL databases server. And within each server, you can have multiple databases. So let me show you what I'm talking about here, right? So essentially, this is my Azure portal. You will see this is my account through which I am logged in. I am the owner of this subscription. And you will see I have a lot of subscription under my account. So you will be able to see from here, if I go into the subscription, these are the different subscriptions that I have right now. Because of the global filter, you will only see one. But if I go into these directories here, I have these many subscription which I am part of, right? Some of them are customer subscription where I'm working on POCs, or some of them are my own demo subscription. But what you see here is basically every account has multiple subscription. Within subscriptions, you can have multiple resource group like what you see here. And within resource group, you can deploy as many as Postgre or MySQL servers. Like what you see here, this is a resource group MySQL RG. Within that, I have deployed two MySQL databases server. And if I go into one database server, within that, you will see I have multiple databases. Right. So these are all the databases that are there in the MySQL server. Right, and within that databases, then you have your database objects like tables and views. So nothing different than what you deploy on-prem, right? On-prem, you deploy a server on a virtual machine or something like that, and then you have the capability of creating multiple databases into it. Same concept applies here as well. Okay. Now let me go a little deeper into how do you access them, right? Now the accessibility could be through Azure portal, as you see here what I'm doing, right? I am able to connect to my MySQL server. I can look at all the databases. I can do things like I can add an Active Directory admin. I can configure replication here. I can even do a restore, backup and restore from here, right? I can even restart my server. I can delete my server. I can monitor my server, right? All that capability is possible through the portal. You can also do the same thing through Azure CLI, right? What Azure CLI offers you is a PowerShell commandlet through which you can look at what are the different server, Postgre or MySQL servers here. I will show you a quickly demo of that. For now, I am logged into my login account. Oh, sorry. So you will see I am logged into my subscription here, and I can do something like this. I can say, show me the Postgres servers that I have in my subscription, and it will take some time and it will list all the Postgres servers that I have in the account. So this is what you can do, right? You can either connect through the portal, you can connect through the Azure CLIs, you can connect through APIs through your custom management apps, or you can use any application client through MySQL or PostgreSQL drivers or database tools like MySQL Workbench, right? That's a very popular tool. You can use that to connect to your MySQL database also. I will move ahead by the time the Workbench connects, but here you can see here I'm connecting through a typical MySQL Workbench, right? I can connect to a database. I can fire queries on them just like you normally do in your on-prem servers, right? Similarly, for Postgres, same things available. Even for MariaDB, same thing is available, right? Now let's talk about the availability and performance. As I said, this is the only service in the cloud market which offers you a built-in 99.99% availability. And not just that, we give you the ability to scale it, the server up and down in a matter of seconds. And even you can increase things like storage or any other need for that matter. I will quickly show you what it looks like. Here, if you see, I have a MySQL server. I can click on the pricing tier. I have the ability to increase the cores on the fly, right? I can go up to 64 core. I can go up to general purpose to memory optimize as I wish. And the moment I click OK, it will take few seconds and your server is now on the new configuration that you configure it to be, right? And it also gives you what is the price that expected price that you will pay for that particular hardware cost, right? And you can even increase the storage here. You can go up to 16 terabytes, right? That is the amount of scalability that we offer, right? Now let's talk about how this is possible, right? It is very important to understand when we say 99.99% availability, how do we offer that, right? This is typically an architecture of how the Azure offers the databases. So essentially, when you deploy a MySQL or a PostgreSQL, what we do is we deploy a proprietary container technology that Azure has into the cloud, into the data center where you've chosen that, and the data is created on the Azure blob storage in the premium file storage, right? So what we have done is we have decoupled the storage and the compute layer. Now what I mean by that is typically when you install a server, a database server on a hardware, the CPU and the storage is tightly coupled on that server, right? Even if it is a SAN, it is tightly coupled, which means you cannot take that SAN off and attach it to a different MySQL server and everything works fine. No, that is never going to happen, right? Until and unless you've created a cluster or something like that. If MySQL server is not in the quorum or not in a cluster, you cannot detach the volume and attach it to some other MySQL client, and it will not work until unless you use the native commands, right? But here what we do is we use the container technology, very similar to what you know about the Dockers and the containers, right? But it is a proprietary Microsoft container technology that we have, which gets deployed onto the data center, and we use the underlying blob storage to create the database copy. So at any point of time, due to the premium file storage capability, we keep 3 copies of your data available, right? Which means if one of the copy of your data goes bad or goes corrupt, the storage layer will automatically spin up a new data volume for you and automatically replicate the data there to avoid any data loss, right? So this gives you the capability of zero data loss from that perspective, right? So your data is always secure on Azure, always available. Anything happens to the disk, we will spin up a new storage volume and copy the data there, and you don't have to worry about data loss. Now let's say what happens about the compute, right? You will see that your clients, whether it's a Postgre or a MySQL client, never connects to the compute directly. It goes through what is called as a gateway, and again, this is region wide. There is a cluster of gateways which is available in every region of Azure. Whenever you connect, even when I'm connecting through my client here, right? You don't connect to the compute directly. What you're connecting to is the gateway, and the gateway redirects your connection to the MySQL server, to the right MySQL or PostgreSQL compute layer, right? Now let's say something happens to this compute layer and it goes down. What Azure will do is it will quickly spin up a new container, attach the volume to that new container, and your gateway can redirect to the new container in matter of seconds. So this is how we provide the 99.99% built-in high availability in the database server. Right now, imagine something happens on your on-prem server and your database server goes down. What do, right? You typically have a replica created or you have the database server in cluster. You try to manage that, but here on the Azure, none of that is needed. We will manage it using the container technology in the background. You don't have to worry about the availability. We give you the 4 nines of SLAs for you. All you have to be careful about is how do you connect from your application to the server, right? So you need to have some retry logic written in your application, because there will be a brief disconnection of 5 to 10 seconds whenever a compute layer goes down, but it's just a matter of 5 to 10 seconds, and that is where we say that always keep a retry logic in your application, right? So this is essentially the architecture. Any questions or any concerns still here? You guys can still see my screen, right? Any questions? I think these questions are for the previous session. Okay, I will continue. If you guys have any question, do stop me and let me know. The same thing applies to whenever you're trying to scale it to a higher server threshold, for that matter. Let's say you want to go from 8 cores to 16 cores, right? Behind the scene, your clients are still connected to the gateway. We will create a new cluster, new compute. Your client will redirect the gateway will redirect the connection to the new compute layer, and you now have a new higher resource of server available for you, right? So all this happens behind the scene, behind the gateway. Your applications don't need to change any connection string. You don't need to change any redirection logic or IPs on the DNS or DNS server or anything of that sort, right? You connect to a host name and that's it, right? From the backend, Azure will manage that. Now let's get to the security part, right? These are some of the certification that we have secured for the database services which are running on Azure. Apart from that, we give you a lot of security features as well, right? For example, we give you native authentication capability. PostgreSQL, MySQL Server comes with their own authentication capability that we provide. We haven't built any other, I would say, our own authentication methodology there. What we offer over and above that is something called as threat detection, right? What this means is with this, we will give you capability where we can identify anonymous connections to your database or things like brute force attack into your database. All those things can be identified by that. Other than that, we give you SSL layer connectivity. There are firewall rules which are available. I heard somebody. Okay, we give you firewall rules. I will talk about firewall rules a little later. You can even connect your database servers to a virtual network. There is a private link also, which is, I will explain that a little later. From data protection capability, we give you built-in encryption at rest. Now, this can be done through system managed keys, or you can manage those keys also. So data at rest or backups, everything is encrypted as well, right? So these are some of the security capabilities. Now let's talk about the VNet service endpoints. Till here, any questions? Okay, quite.
Please proceed.
The whole crowd is very quiet.
Please proceed.
Yeah, I will. There is a question, maybe you can answer them, but by the time I will complete the session, I will try to answer them also. So VNet service endpoint is essentially, let's say if you have a VNet, I hope you know what VNet is, right? Essentially, VNet is nothing but a virtual network where you create resources within that network and anybody else from outside don't have access to that. You can create a VNet gateway and pair your on-premises network with this. Now, essentially what happens is that at the if you want that from this network only specified resources can connect to your database server and nobody from outside of internet can connect to it, you can enable what is called as VNet service endpoints, and then you whitelist those service endpoints to your VNet firewall, and then all the resources within this network which has the firewall enabled would be able to connect to the database services. You will have to create ACLs for that. And essentially what you allow doing here is you only allow the resources within the VNet or within your on-premises to connect to the database server. Nobody from the internet can connect, right? Now, but there is a catch here. Whenever you create a endpoint, right, what Azure will do is it will still go over the internet to connect to this service. There is a private IP which is created which connects to these database servers. Still nobody else outside of the internet can connect, but your connection is still going over the internet, right? A lot of people say that this is not acceptable to them. Then what you can create is you can create what is called as a private link. In this, what happens is that you create a private endpoint in your VNet, and from that VNet you create a private endpoint in your database server also. And this connection happens over your VPN, or it happens over your you may have express route, right? It connects through that. Even your on premises is routed through this direction. which means that no access to the internet, even your connectivity goes through your backbone or the express route backbone and not through internet. So this is the most secure way of connecting to the database, whereas your database servers are not exposed to the internet, right? So this feature is available now, and you can explore this if you have any compliance related issue where you say that I cannot expose my database servers on the internet. Apart from that, we give you backups which are built in. You can choose anywhere from 7 to 35 days of backup, and this is configurable on the server itself. If you go to the pricing tier, here you can define what number of backup retention you want. And even within that, you can have a locally redundant backup or a geo redundant backup, right? What benefit you get in the geo redundant is that you can, in case if your connectivity to the region goes down, or let's say out of some reason the whole Azure region goes down, you can still restore your database in another region using the geo redundant backup, right? So this is very good from a DR perspective. Make sure if you're using the databases on Azure, you enable them to avoid any region-wise DR failover. Okay. So and even let's say if you want to restore, it is very simple. You just go click on restore and you restore it from there, right? I will show you a demo where I will create a new server and I will also restore it from a backup in the later time. From the monitoring and capability, you have all the monitoring available. I will show you a demo on this also. Essentially, you can create your own dashboards. You can monitor a lot of built-in metrics that are given to you out of the box. You can also stream these metrics into log analytics, and you can run complex queries on that. I will show you that also a little later. Right, you can even do things like create alerts on certain things. Right now, this is a DBA favorite. Our database administrators will mostly, they don't sit in front of the servers and monitor it, right? They would like to configure automatic alerts whenever the CPU or storage is, let's say, 80%, 70%, they want to get an alert, right? That kind of capability is available here also. I will show you a demo here on that also. Apart from that, if you want to do performance tuning, right, the default MySQL or Postgre standard database engine monitoring is available. Typically in MySQL, you might have worked with performance underscore schema views, right? There you get a lot of stats and activity details, session details. Similarly, in Postgre, we offer the PG stat statement, PG buffer cache, PG stats underscore activity. All those views are available to you by default, and you can monitor them for any performance related issues as well, right? I will try to show you a simple demo in this if we have the time. Let's go ahead. So essentially, you can also enable what is called as server logs, right? If you are a MySQL DBA or a Postgre DBA, you know what server logs are, right? Similarly, here also you can configure server logs, and you can monitor that server logs with a lot of other things. I will show you a little demo here, but you will see that you can download the server logs from here. This is my MySQL server. I think I have not configured for MySQL, but I have definitely configured for Postgre. So this is again my Postgre server on the Azure, and if I click into Postgre server, I can download the server logs and monitor it there, right? So let's say if I want to see what is happening here, this is the latest log that is available to me, right? So typically this is what you'll see, and you will see I'm logging a lot of details. For example, every select, every statement I am logging into that. Every time a person logs into PostgreSQL, I am logging that also. So all those details can be configured here. similar to Postgre, right? So these are some server parameters which you will see a little later, where you can configure a lot of different capabilities. This is the log analytics which I was talking about. I will show you a demo on this. Basically, what you're doing is all these logs, all these metrics that the server is spewing out, you can configure them to go into either a storage account, which you can use for analysis later. You can even stream it to Events Hub, which is a subscriber and producer subscriber kind of a thing that available on the Azure, or you can send it to log analytics also. I will show you a log analytics demo a little later. Okay, it's time to show you the demo. So I will first show you how a service is created. I will show you a small demo on backup and restore. I will show you a demo on monitoring, and then I will show you a demo on diagnostic log as well. Any questions? Okay, so all question answered. Let me go to the details here. So let's do this. What I will do is I will create a new PostgreSQL server on the Azure, and not just that, I will do a geo restore from my existing PostgreSQL into that region, right? So what I'm going to do is, if you see on the screen, this is a PostgreSQL server that I have on my cloud, which is right now in the Southeast Asia region, right? And this is the name of the server, right? And you will see that typically I can connect through a normal PSQL command here. Also, I can say host name npgsql one dot postgres dot database dot azure dot com, and username is Navirdi at npgsql1. Hopefully it connects. Oh, I forgot to give the name of the database. So I want to connect to this database DVD rental on my PostgreSQL. Okay, I think I gave the password wrong. Right. So typically, same thing that you see on a normal Postgres server, right? I'm able to connect through a command line or any PG admin or those kind of tools also you can use. And it is connected to my NPG SQL. What I will do is I will restore this server into another region, and then we will try to connect to that, right? So what I will do is I will go back to the resource group. I will add a new PostgreSQL here. Right, and so right now we have option of either creating a single server or a hyperscale. Right now, today I'm not discussing about hyperscale, but this is also an interesting option available to you to deploy on. For now, I'm deploying a single server. I click on create. I will provide a region here. First, before that, let me provide a name. npgsql2. This is what my server name would be. And I want to restore it from a backup. So I click on backup. You will see that I can now choose my existing server and then then ask it to create a new server using the backup, geo redundant backup of this server, right? I might as well create in Southeast Asia or some other region. So let me use East Asia this time, right, as a paired region here. I will choose East Asia. By default, when you do a restore of the backup, it will take the same storage and compute capability. You can reduce that after the creation of the server. But right now what I'm doing is I'm taking the backup of my existing server here, which is NPG SQL, which you saw, which is available in Southeast Asia, and recovering it to a new server in the East Asia region, right? I click on review and create. and click on create. So by the time it gets created, we will look for other demos, and once this is created, I'll come back to this, right? So you saw what I did, right? What I did was I created a new PostgreSQL, and not just that, I created it through a restore from the geo restore, right? Now let's look at monitoring and some diagnostic logs till this restore happens. From the diagnostic monitoring capability, right? When you go to the PostgreSQL server, you will see that on the Azure portal itself, I have a lot of metrics that I can add and monitor my server on, right? So this can be, for example, I want to look at what is the IO percentage on my server. I want to look at what is the memory used by my server, right? All those dashboards can be created here, and you can continuously monitor it to look at what is the kind of resource that are being utilized. What I like to do is I like to pin it back to a dashboard so that as a Azure administrator or as a DBA, you can have one dashboard through which you can monitor the entire server. I will show you what that dashboard, what I have configured here. So you see, I have configured CPU, I have configured the IO capabilities, I have configured the memory on my server on this dashboard, and I get to see what's happening in the past 6 hours actually. Similarly, I can look at what are the maximum numbers of connections that have come to this. I can refresh this. Uh, to show me the latest data. I can look at how much of log is my server using, what is the backup storage my server is using, and what is the storage that my database is using, right? So all this can be monitored through this. Similarly, I can create multiple dashboards like this. I can configure the auto refresh also. I can say uh, how fast I want this to be refreshed, right? All those detail can be configured here. Let's go back to my Postgre server, right? So that's the monitoring part, and as usual, from the usual activity perspective, you can look at that as well, right? If you know about this particular thing, PG underscore stat underscore activity, that view is also available here, right? You can look at what are the available users that are connected to my server. All that capability is available through here as well. Apart from that, if you remember, I was talking about the diagnostic logging capability, right? Let me show you a little detail about that. So here you can, as I said, you can configure multiple metrics. You can also configure alerts. You can configure rules where you can say that if the CPU goes above 90% for 5 minutes, send me an alert. Or if somebody tries to, if the active number of connections go above 100, then send me alert. All those capability can be configured here. I will show you a different thing which I have done, which is the diagnostic setting. Essentially, with diagnostic setting, all these dashboard metrics, all the PG stat activity, all your PostgreSQL log can be streamed to, as I said, log analytics, or it can be archived to storage, or it can be sent to Event Hub to configure it to go to other things like third-party tools also, right? So you can configure Postgre logs to be sent there. You can even send runtime statistics of your queries. Your wait statistics can be sent, and all the metrics like the CPU, the IO usage, and all that can be sent here, right? I will show you one diagnostic setting, one which I have done, which is this one. So I am sending all these details to my log analytics, which is in the same subscription. This is the log analytic workspace where that data is going. I will show you what it looks like. Let's go back to this portal. And this is my log analytics workspace where all the Postgre related data is being sent. Now, if you click on logs under the log analytics here, you have to obviously pre-create this log analytics workspace before, right? If you click on logs here, you have a lot of inbuilt queries that are given to you out of the box, which can be used for Postgre. For example, when did you have the auto vacuum events? Tell me, show me when was the server restarted last, how many unauthorized connections, or show me things like the slowest queries or queries which were run. So let me run this simple query, which is the query statistics. Okay, now what is happening here is that there are some, okay, because this server is not used much, you will not see a lot of data here. It is a demo server, right? So if, let's say if I remove all this, right, and I run and I want it to show me all the events that were measured, right? So you will see all these events which are getting captured into my log analytics workspace, right? This particular message is when the checkpoint last started in my database server, right? And similarly, these kind of things are available to you, right? So not just this, you can even do things like I want to, you want to filter it by, let's say I want to show only the error where error level S is equal to, don't show me the logs one, show me only the error ones, right? So I can say something like this, show me all the errors which have been logged into my workspace. Right, it is showing for the last 24 hours. If I say for the last 7 days, okay, nothing here as well. Let's go for a longer duration then. Okay, I said error, right? Let's remove this. Because I remember there was a error which was displayed during my last demo. Okay, anyways, I will show you another thing which I created on top of it. But these are some of the queries which you can run. And you can even create a alert rule based on the query, right? Which can be like, okay, whenever there is a panic level of error created in my log file, send me an error, right? Send me an email. I have done a similar thing here, which you will see under alerts. So if you go to alerts, you will see that I have created a rule already on this, which means that whenever my Postgre server is shut down or it is doing any restarts, send me an email, right? So this is what the query is. If you see here, from Azure Diagnostic, whenever in the Postgre log, you see a message which contains something like database system was shut down or is ready to accept, what it will do is, based on that, it will send me an alert, right? And this you will see in the action group here. Right, so whenever there is a shutdown or restart, it will send me a error email to this email ID here, right? And I will show you some error which I have got. I have not started my Outlook, but in my Outlook email, you will see some of the errors which I got in the previous. Uh, okay, 1 minute. Just give me a moment. I'm trying to search the. Let's search for shutdown. Yeah, so you see this error message which came to me few days back, right, on 14th July to be precise. This is because my PostgreSQL server was shut down. Right, so you can configure these kind of alerts not just on memory CPU but also on events like if there is any error that is thrown by your PostgreSQL or MySQL. If there is a log, PostgreSQL error log where there is a new message which is logged about a server shutdown or a client which is trying to connect, all those kind of events can be configured to send you an email, right? So that's one demo. The other demo I wanted to show was on my new database server which got created.
That's
I
it.
can hear somebody. Is there any question?
I think we got a question.
Yep.
Okay.
Somebody is asking about brief intro on Cosmos DB. Okay, I don't think. Okay, let's see if I have time. We will do that a little later. I have a lot of demos to show, so let me go ahead with that first. Okay, is that okay, Mehdi?
Okay, and I have another question that do you have any MySQL demo here?
Yes,
Did
yes, I
you?
will show you a MySQL demo also.
Okay. MySQL
Okay.
demo. Okay.
In fact, whatever I'm showing you is available on MySQL also. The log analytics, all that capability is available there also. Okay, anyways, this is the new server which I created. If you remember, this is the new server which got created. And these are the databases which got restored from there. So let's try to connect to that, right? So I'm going to quit from here and I'm going to connect to my other server now, right? With the same setting, which is the NPG SQL, and you will see that it says it cannot connect to, okay, I have to change the username also. Right, it will ask for, it will say that your IP is not allowed to connect, right? This is essentially what is called as the firewall level prevention, right? So whenever you create a new server, make sure that under connection security, you go ahead and add those IP rules. Otherwise, nobody will be able to connect to that, right? So I will add this as my home IP, and this is the IP. So I'm going under my server, the new server created under the connection security. I'm adding this IP, right, and clicking on save. And while it is updating, let's try to connect to it. And you will see that I am able to connect now, right? Previously, it was not able to connect because that IP was not whitelisted. The moment you add that IP into the firewall, you are now able to connect, right? So this is very important thing which you need to be aware of. Whoever is wants to connect to this new server, you need to make sure that the firewall rule is added for that, or else you need to add the particular VNet through which they are going to connect. You remember the VNet endpoints, right? You need to add that VNet endpoint. You need to create a VNet endpoint and add that virtual network so that anybody from that network should be able to connect to this server, right? So that is the connectivity and the demo essentially on this, which I wanted to show. There is some, okay, let's go ahead. Now, other capability that we give on Azure open source databases is the capability to use replication. Now, this is an out-of-the-box feature which is given to you by using the native replication capability. So if you are a MySQL DBA, you know what is bin log, right? Bin log replication. So you can use the bin log replication to create multiple replicas. And the idea there is that, let's say if you have this kind of a scenario where there is a master server and one application which is writing data into that master, you can create up to 5 replicas from that master, and you can distribute the writers or your application also. Whenever it is trying to do a read connection to your database, you can distribute that to your replicas, and from this what you can do is basically you can create cluster of MySQL databases in active passive format, and you will be able to increase the scalability of your service. So you can imagine your BI reports going to the other host. Your read applications are going to the replica, and read write applications are going to the master server, right? So this kind of capability is offered on MySQL. It is also offered on Postgre. This is a old slide, not updated, but it is not in preview right now. It is GA. So you can create that. So I will show you a typical demo here where what you will do is I will have a one MySQL master server and one read replica created, and I will deploy a proxy SQL in Ubuntu VM. You can choose any other VM here wherever you can deploy proxy SQL on, and then we will fire certain queries and we will see how it works, right? So for those who don't know proxy SQL is basically a proxy which you can install to do intelligent redirections of read, write, and read workloads to your database servers, right? It works with MySQL. It can do things like connection pooling. It can do things like caching of data as well, and in query redirection also. Now, why this is needed, right? You will see that when you create a replica, what Azure does is it creates a new replica with a different host name, right? So either you need to add that host name connection string in your application, and your application should be aware which is my read replica and which is my master server, so that it can redirect, right? Most of the time your applications are not aware or are not coded like that, right? So this is where you can use MySQL proxy SQL to intelligently redirect all the read queries to read replica. I will show you this demo here. Okay. Now let me show you what that system looks like. Uh, I'll go on a mute for a few seconds. 1 minute. Okay. Thank you, guys. I'm back. So essentially, this is my MySQL resource group where you will see that I have a replica server of my master server here, right? So if you want to see, I will go to my master MySQL server. And if I go into the replication, this is where you add replica. So you would simply click on add replica. You say which region, you give it a name, you say which region you want that replica to be deployed. You click on OK, and automatically a replica is created, and you can then use this for your read replicas, right? So here what I have done is there is one server in the Southeast Asia, which is my master server, and there is another server in East Asia, which is my replica, right? And I have Ubuntu VM, which I have deployed here, this VM which is deployed here, right, in my migration RG resource group. And this Ubuntu VM is having a proxy SQL installed on that. I will show you that detail here. So this is my VM that I was talking about. And from here, you can look at, I have this proxy SQL service created here, right? And it is active, listening to my calls here, right? Now, if you know how proxy SQL is deployed, essentially when you deploy it, there are two logins available to you. One is the normal user login, which you give to your app to connect to the databases, and the another one is an admin login which is given to you, which is used to configure the database servers and the different username passwords, right? So let me log into my proxy SQL server, right? So I have that in my history, that command. So I will choose that. This keyboard, sorry, I'm using a new keyboard, so that is creating a lot of problem. Okay, so I will use this command to connect to my admin console, right? and you will see that I can look at what my different servers have been that I have configured here. So you will see I have configured MySQL 1, right, which is on Azure, and MySQL replica 1, which is created, right, and I have configured this database server as my write group and the replica as my read group, right? And I have also created certain rules. If you see, there are rules also which have been created here. Uh, Query rule. So you will see select star from MySQL underscore query underscore rules. I have configured rules where I have set that select star for updates, and any updates go to my first group, right? And anything with select goes to the second group, right? All the detail have been configured here. And what I will do is now I will try to connect to my MySQL through the normal user console and try to fire some queries, and then we will go back and see how many queries we were redirected to second server and how many queries were redirected to the first server. So I will quit from here, and again I want to see MySQL. So this is my. So now I'm connected to my MySQL in the user mode in the 6033 port, and through the demo user. Now if I see how many databases are there on this server, right? Okay, I'm not sure why this is slow. Let's go and see. Okay, why is this showing as 0 CPU? 1 minute, guys. One minute, guys. I'm trying to re-log in again to that. Okay. So I'm logged in again. If I try to do this, will it work? Okay, now it is working. So I think there was some glitch here. Maybe my, okay, I'm not sure what it was. We can look at that later. But now if you see, I'm logged into the my Azure database through proxy SQL. You see, I'm connected to my local host on port 6033, which is where the proxy SQL is running, and I'm querying my database. So I will say, okay, use employees database, show what tables are there. So let's do select star from employees, and I will there limit 10, right? So, okay, what I will do is I will update this row in the through proxy SQL. So I'm doing update employees, set first underscore name equal to George, where imp underscore number is equal to 10,001. So one row has been updated. I will fire the select query again to see that the row has been updated, right? All working fine. I'm going through proxy SQL and connecting to my server here, and everything seems to work fine. I can even monitor things like how many active connections I have right now to kind of give you some detail there. So there are, I'm not sure why it is showing, okay, because it's 1 minute delay, right? 30 minute, 1 minute, apply. I'm not sure why everything is showing a 0, but anyways, okay. So I'm connected here. Now what I will do is I will quit from here and I will log into my MySQL console. which is my admin console, right? And here there is a query which is given to you, which is called as stats underscore MySQL underscore query underscore. Uh, I forget. I keep forgetting that. uh, 1 minute. Uh, 1 minute. Huh? There is a blog on this which I read to configure this. I can share that blog also later with you, but the table name is called as digest. Yeah, query digest. So you will see that from here, what all queries were fired. This basically keeps the statistics of all the queries that has been fired through proxy SQL to your MySQL cluster, and it will tell you where those queries ended up. So if you will see, we were doing this select queries. It went to the host group 2. Whenever I fired an update, it went to host group 1, right? Even things like show databases, show table, all that queries went to host group 1, right? Which is my read write replica. Sorry, the master server, and the other one went. All the select queries went to the replicas, right? So this is through. This is essentially what you can do on the scalability perspective for your MySQL. You can use things like proxy SQL to intelligently route your read writes to the master, to the principal server, primary server, and the read queries to your read replica server. So that's about it from my side for this session. I think I am pretty much on time. So we saw a lot of things here. We saw what are the different services which are available. We saw what is the architecture of the databases on Azure. We saw a few demos on how do you create a new service and how do you restore. What can you do for monitoring? And I also showed you a demo of how do you configure a proxy SQL to leverage the read replica feature on MySQL. The same thing is available on Postgre also. You can use PG pool to do connection redirection there as well. So with that, I will hand it over to the organizer and see if there are any more questions here.
Thank you, Naginder, for your very informative session. I'm seeing a question from an user that can you brief about Cosmos DB, how it work in Azure?
So, yes, definitely. I'll talk briefly about what Cosmos DB is.
Yes.
Cosmos DB is basically a NoSQL database on Azure. And what it offers you is basically a document store on Azure, which can be connected through various wire APIs. For example, you can use the Mongo API to connect to Postgre, Cosmos DB. You can even use things like SQL APIs to connect to Cosmos DB. Essentially, it is a planet scale NoSQL service, which is a database available on the Azure, and you can store JSON documents there and use it as a graph database or a SQL front end, or you can also use things like Cassandra or Mongo APIs to connect to it, right? Um, I cannot give you any further detail because I'm out of time. Maybe
Yes.
in some other session we can talk more details about that.
Okay. And I got some other questions like, can we use some admin tool like PC admin or HeySQL or PHP MyAdmin for administrating the MariaDB or MySQL and
Yes.
PGSQL?
Yes. Any tool that you connect to MySQL right now on, you can use the same thing also. For example, here I'm using MySQL Workbench,
Workbench. Okay.
but you can use dbeaver, or there are a lot of community tools which are available which can be used to connect to that.
And one final question, basically.
Yes.
Since Microsoft Azure is ensuring the 99.99% availability, so is there any requirement of replication for a mid-level organization, since everything is restored within 4 or 5 seconds, as you told?
Uh, if I get your question correctly, you're saying for a mid-size organization,
Yes.
how can they leverage this service, right?
Yes. Yes.
Uh, I think even for a mid-size organization, I would not say that it depends on the size of the organization. I would say it depends on the criticality of your application.
Yes.
If you are using a website, front end website, which your customers will use to log in and transact, you don't want any downtime there, right? So there you can use these kind of services with a high SLA to guarantee that your website or your application will never be down. But let's say if you have a tier 2 or tier 3 application which does not require that kind of an SLA, in these service there is something called as okay, where is my okay, there is something called as basic edition of service also available. I will show you what it looks like. If you go to pricing tier, you can also use the basic tier, which is only up to 2 cores. There is no IO performance guarantee. There is no 99.99% SLA available here. It is a very cheap service. You can use that also for tier 3 or tier 4 application, or even for your development effort, right? You don't need to use general purpose or memory optimize for your development environment, right? Does that answer your question, maybe?
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So I will stop the share and I will go on mute. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot for giving me the opportunity to present here and share my thoughts with the community. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Naginder, for your valuable session. And I am over to our admin, Asan Kabir Bhai. Asan Kabir Bhai, please introduce our next speaker with us.
Asif Bhai is here.
Hi, Asan, Asif here.
Hi, hello.
Thanks, Naginder, for a nice session. Really nice. Yeah. So today I'll be talking about blockchain. Okay. So yeah, thanks, organizer, for really arranging this. Yeah. Okay. So I'll start now in a few minutes. Just give me. Let me share my
Sure.
slides. Yeah. I think. Yes. Just Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. Hi everyone, thanks for joining today. Today I'll be presenting about blockchain. It's develop, deploy, and manage data with Azure blockchain. Basically, a little bit about myself. I am Mohammad Asif Fakar. I'm a solution architect at ABN AMRO Bank and currently working in Singapore. Many thanks to his sponsor for arranging this session. It was a really nice session. Okay, and so today's agenda will be this, like we'll discuss about what is a blockchain and why exactly we need blockchain. Okay, and then what are the challenges with the blockchain and a little bit about Azure blockchain services and how we can create a blockchain prototype, and then we'll see how we can integrate with the existing app. So in today's world, like we have seen the traditional systems and now the blockchain. So blockchain is basically a distributed app for performing all the transactions. So if you ask me in a single sentence, so I will say blockchain is a decentralized database with strong consistency support. So what it happens is all the nodes, basically all the nodes are nothing but organizations. So they maintain a local copy of the data and ensure the consistency will be same on when you are performing the transactions. So suppose if you have means couple of means organizations which is involved in any kind of transactions, like in terms of any financial transactions or any means some like asset transfer or any kind of transaction. So in that whatever the transactions are being performed with the multiple parties, so they will ensure that data will be consistent. So the question comes, what is the difference between then blockchain and distributed app? Because some distributed app, like if you talk about the Cosmos DB or some other database, so they are providing such kind of services. So what it makes difference if you talk about the blockchain and those apps? So because there is a couple of means like in terms of security, in terms of it is almost same, but in terms of security and all, it's more efficient if you talk about the blockchain part. Okay, so let me explain why exactly we need a blockchain. Okay, in traditional systems, if you talk about traditional systems, so we are familiar that so all the traditional systems having a centralized system which is monitoring all your transactions, all your data and everything. And if you have your own organizations and other organizations, they have their own systems to maintain their reports, their applications, everything. So they have a set of data in their own systems, and other organizations is also maintaining a set of the data. Okay, so it is like something like point to point means if they want to perform any kind of transitions with other application or with other organizations, so they have a point to point communication, and which is a quite troublesome part, because sometimes what it happens is if any means like if you want to, if the two organizations are there and they have hired some third party for performing their some audit process or something, so they have some duplicate amount of, because there are multiple auditors involved in that and they have a same set of data, so it might be redundant data. And then so in this kind of scenario, and also they are charging a huge amount of fees, and there are also a lot of other things which makes it a traditional system big problematic. So they are inefficient in terms of they are expensive, because there are a lot of other third parties involved in that, and they are vulnerable also, because all the parties, if you see about importer, exporter, auditor, just take about supply chains. In supply chain, if we have an importer, exporter, auditor, and exporter banks, freight forwarders, or so everyone is maintaining their own set of data and their own set of applications. So so some applications or some data might not be very secure, so they might be vulnerable. So in that scenario, means all the means parties might be means the data might be compromised, and there will be like trust gap between all the parties. So if there is importer, exporter, and how the data is data is legitimate data, or is data is correct data. So you have 10 copies of same report and you want to validate all the reports. So in this scenario, it's become very complex. So how we can solve such kind of problems? So in this type of things, now the blockchain comes into picture. So blockchain is nothing but just a decentralized ledger where all the parties shared a copy of the data and ledger, and they can see real-time data. So if you see this structure in that, so these are importer, exporter, or freight forwarders, ledger, means auditors, they are all on the same platform, and they are performing the transition with each other, and they can maintain, means they can see whatever is being happened. Like suppose if any transaction is performed on the blockchain ledger, so it will be notified to all the users. And the good thing is all your transactions will be linked with your previous transaction hash. So because whenever you're performing the transactions, so your transactions will be secured with hash 256 hash, and then it will be linked to your previous transactions. So you can see means from where it is started. You can see all the audit history, means from where your transaction was started, and how it is being transferred from one party to another party, and what is the actual status now. So suppose you are sending money from Dhaka to Singapore or US. So in that, how many parties are there? Like you have transferred from, suppose, DBS Bank or some other bank. So one bank to another bank, if the money is being transferred by some SWIFT payment or some other parties, third party. So in that scenario, if money is taken from A to B and B to C and C to D, means so many parties. So you will see in all the in blockchain transactions how it is transferred from A to B and what time they have received. So everyone will receive a notification. Means the payment was initiated from A to B and then it is transferred from B to C, and whoever is involved, who have done the transactions, so you can see all this all. So in later in demo, I will show how exactly this happens. So how it benefits, it provides you a real-time view review. It's there is no intermediary parties are involved to assume the risk, because suppose in current scenario, like importer to exporter or importer to bank, there are a couple of intermediary parties involved which verify your means transactions, like the suppose there is a audit process or there is a KYC process for the banks. So in initial, if banks want to sign up for any customers, so they do the KYC check. So for the KYC check, there are so many third parties involved. If all comes on the blockchain platform, so those third parties will be removed in future, because initially the customer will be registered on the blockchain network, and after that, whoever party, like there are multiple banks, like 10 banks or 20 banks are there, so they will have the customer digital identity, so they will know that what he have done in previous, and however he have done the transactions or whatever, so they can see the history of the customer. And decentralized contract execution, so all the parties will have their own set of smart contracts. Smart contracts are nothing but uh, set of rules which is executed digitally in terms of code. So what will happen is importer exporter, they will have their own nodes and they will deploy the blockchain code in terms of smart contracts to the node. So node will be, so smart contracts will be like your terms and conditions between the parties. Suppose if you have an importer to exporter and you want to, when he will send the money, then I will disperse this amount or whatever the terms and conditions you want, you can specify in the smart contract. And proof of ownership. So you will know that this asset belongs to whom and from where it was started. And automate settlement and reduction transaction fee. So these all process means, because all the terms and condition you will specify in the smart contract, and that will be like automated process. So if step 1 and 2 is done, then step 3 will be proceed for this. So it will be like that. In today's world, there are 3 types of blockchain. So currently we have public blockchain, private blockchain, and consortium. Public blockchain was Bitcoin. I think everyone heard about Bitcoin. Uh, Public blockchain is basically in that everyone can participate. So Bitcoin, and currently there is also Ethereum. So Ethereum is also one of the public blockchain network. And private blockchain is something like you want to build a blockchain platform for your company, for some document verification process or asset management process, or some your for own purpose. In your closed, in that scenario, private blockchain network is suitable. But when we talk about the consortium is like a multi-party system where all the parties means all different organizations will come and they will form a consortium to do some kind of transactions or asset transfer or any kind of like supply chain. So that is the consortium. So in public blockchain, there are like examples like royalty points. In Singapore government, they have made basically for attestation of your all degrees, like I belongs to NUS, so they have a blockchain application for verifying your degrees. So whenever we will graduate, so we'll get blockchain certificate. So it's they will provide a digital certificate which can be verified from one platform, that's open source, which is a blockchain platform, and from anywhere, so no one can make any kind of fraudulent transaction that make a fake degree. So they will be like that. Yes. And private blockchain is basically, yeah, like for your asset transfer or your document verification process. You want to build a product for your own company. So that's a private blockchain. In today's world, there are a couple of blockchain frameworks available, like Ethereum, Hyperledger Fabric, and Coda. These are the three more widely used as of now. Yeah, but there are all more of them. Like they are. But Ethereum is a very popular framework, which is open blockchain platform framework. Hyperledger Fabric and Coda is private blockchain, suitable for private blockchain network. But they are also providing like Hyperledger Fabric. Recently, they have also made a Hyperledger Besu, which is a client of Ethereum. So that is also for open blockchain platform. So in that, if you talk about but uh, but whenever we think about blockchain, actually the things comes in cryptocurrency. But when you talk about open blockchain network, yeah, there is a cryptocurrency. But when we talk about the private blockchain or consortium network, so there is no cryptocurrency concept. So if you can see here in Ethereum, we have Ether as a cryptocurrency, but for Hyperledger Fabric and Coda, there is no cryptocurrency because it is all the transactions, whatever they are performing in a closed is the known person. So the mechanism which is called is a proof of identity, means you know the people. So that is called consensus mechanism, which is used for that. Why there was a part of cryptocurrency what added for the open blockchain network, because the idea was initially anyone can join the network and they can perform the transaction. So how they can perform the transaction, who will maintain the network? So to maintain the network, they have introduced the concept of cryptocurrency. So whoever is in the network, they can perform the transaction by paying the fee, gas fees on the network by paying with the cryptocurrency. So they suppose you are performing one transaction, so there will be a gas amount which will be charged in terms of Ether or in terms of Bitcoin. So that was the concept for open blockchain. But when we talk about the private or consortium blockchain network, it's a completely different, because you are someone, there is a admin which is maintaining the whole network. So you don't need to pay any kind of fee actually. Yeah. So if you are new to blockchain, these are the basics which you need to know about the blockchain, like what are the means currency, and means if there is no currency used, either you're going for open blockchain network or private blockchain network, you need to decide at the initial stage. And for writing the smart contracts, like your application logic, what are the languages you need to use? For Ethereum there is Solidity, and for Hyperledger there is chain code. And yeah, so the question comes, I want to start a blockchain. Actually, this is a very common question asked. I want to build a blockchain app. So from where I need to start, and what are things I need to consider? Actually, it's a very basic but yeah question, because when we think about the end-to-end blockchain application, we need to consider a lot of things. Like we need to consider about your how you'll write your blockchain logic, business logic, how you'll configure your network, how you'll build your client app, or how you'll integrate your existing app. Suppose you have any existing app of like a .NET app or Java app, or your Office 365 app, or your SAP applications, or any other applications if you have. Okay, and you want to integrate with your blockchain application. So what are the things, what are the possibilities you can do that, and how you want to deploy your. So suppose if you have your own identity which is on your Active Directory available, and you want to connect those identity to your blockchain network. So what are the process in current scenario? How it is happens is, for Ethereum there is a middleware available which is helps to connect to the blockchain network. That's called Web3.js and Ether.js. There are some client libraries available which helps to connect. And same as this for Hyperledger, there is their own means Fabric network available, and so it helps to connect to the blockchain network with the client app. Okay, but what Microsoft is doing, actually they are providing, they're doing really good job. Means like, if you think, I mean, like means like about if I want to create, so I'm very confused that where to start actually, is because there are so many things we need to consider, like your infrastructure or your application logic, everything. So what Microsoft is doing, Microsoft is providing a couple of services which helps to build a whole ecosystem, like from building your application logic. You want to build a simple prototype, and until you're configuring your network. Suppose you want to build a whole complete blockchain network, provision a blockchain network. You want to see the data. You want to see the data in terms of report, in terms of Power BI report, in terms of SQL Server report, a SQL Server or Cosmos DB you want to see. And so there are a couple of services which Microsoft is providing. So that's called Azure Blockchain Services. If you can see here, there are Azure Blockchain Service, which is still in preview mode. Preview mode is like for development and testing. Yeah, but there are also a few customers moved to production as well. And there is also blockchain workbench. And apart from that, there are some templates, like which is already predefined templates available uh, on so you can provision your network. Like for Ethereum, there is some template available. For Hyperledger Fabric Kubernetes service, there is a template available. For Quorum is enterprise version of Ethereum client. So in 2015, few organizations came, and they enhanced Ethereum to enterprise version of Ethereum that's called Quorum. So that was, and JP Morgan was one of the initiative organization. Yeah, so they are maintaining the Quorum as of now, and there are a couple of others, but these are the two main services, which is like Azure Blockchain as a Service and Azure Blockchain Workbench. But apart from that, there are few other services, like for managing your data. There is a Azure Data Manager service, and let me show. So there is a Blockchain Data Manager service, and for maintaining your tokens. Suppose if you are making application which is publicly available, and you want to make it for a public blockchain, so and you want to use a concept of cryptocurrency for and then you have a requirement for like you for tokens. Are actually two types of tokens currently available, like fungible and non-fungible. Fungible are like which you can evaluate the value, and non-fungible are like your asset. So you want to tokenize your asset, because it might be a requirement that you want to sell the asset. And like a use case, if you talk about, you want to sell a property. Okay, and in selling a property, you need to register with authority of means like land development authority. You want to go for court, you want to register there. All those parties are there, and they, if they are on same blockchain platform, so how the assets will be registered on the blockchain network, and how it will be transferred from one to other, and who will do the payments. So there are so many things there, like the value of the assets. So asset is being transferred from one party to another party, and then it is being converted in terms of cost. So in that scenario, these services will be helpful. And the fourth service is Azure Blockchain Development Kit, which is really a good thing, because Azure Blockchain Development Kit provide you a capability to develop an application, you don't need to download so many tools. You don't need to be confused. You just download Azure Blockchain Development Kit, and you can start a development from there. Yeah, in a demo, I will show how we'll create a prototype using Azure Blockchain Development Kit, and how we'll deploy onto the Azure Blockchain network, and how we can see the data which is being which is being performed on the blockchain network on some off-chain storage like SQL Server or Cosmos DB. So yeah, let's see how we can create a blockchain prototype. And as I told earlier, like blockchain development kit is one of the plugin provided in VS Code. This is a blockchain development kit for Ethereum for developing your smart contracts. And this is a blockchain Azure workbench. So here you can see I have already deployed 2 smart contracts, one for asset transfer and one for calculating your frequent flyer points. So like that, you can deploy as many blockchain prototype on this. So you don't need to create a UI, means you don't need to worry about your web client. You can just write your business logic and can deploy on blockchain network to test how exactly your end-to-end functionality will work, how you can integrate with your existing app. Yeah, in demo we will go through all this. So this is the overall picture of Azure blockchain. If you can see here, I have is everybody able to listen to me? Is there any thing this you can ping? Yeah. If there is any question, you can just ping on the chat box. Yeah. Okay, so we can see here what Microsoft is providing is they are providing identity and key management. When you provision a blockchain network with the Azure Workbench, so what you will get is you will get identity and key management, and data platform services like a SQL Server will be provisioned, and there will be like monitoring service will be there, and some third parties like logic apps will be there. So what it will help is it will help to connect your client apps, like if you have any .NET app or Java app or any other mobile app, and you want to perform the transaction with all these apps, or if you have any Salesforce or SAP application or LinkedIn application or Office 365 apps, and you want to perform like SharePoint app, you want to make a form and you want to fill the form and perform the transactions on the blockchain network. So that is possible with the Azure Workbench. So you can just consume the APIs and all the transactions when you perform. So it will be performed on the blockchain network, and it will help to provide capabilities you can configure with any of the blockchain framework. Actually, that is one of the biggest problem they are trying to solve, because in current scenario, what is happening is everyone is trying to create a blockchain app. In maybe some people are making in Hyperledger, some people are making in Corda, some people are making in their quorum based on their requirement. But the problem is interoperability, means they are not able to talk to each other. They are not able to transfer the assets from one blockchain network to another blockchain network. And in this type of issue, to overcome this type of issues, what they're trying to provide a solution which can helps to integrate any kind of ledger with your existing app. And that is one of the integration is one of the biggest problem they are trying to solve. So these are the challenges which Azure Workbench is trying to solve. Like suppose you want to create a simple prototype, you don't need to, because in current scenario, if you go either for Ethereum, either for Hyperledger or Corda, the infrastructure management is a very big headache, and you have to manage a lot of services, and you need to have expertise in that. So this is a really troublesome part. So with Azure Workbench or Azure Blockchain as a Service, you can just provision a complete whole network within few clicks. So they're trying, and for creating just a simple POC to test your business logic, you don't need to spend a lot of time. You can just do in 1 or 2 days. Yeah. So they're trying to connect with your existing infrastructure, because with the current blockchain setup, although they are trying to expose the APIs and others, but still connectivity with your existing app is a big challenge. Yeah, and in current scenario, you don't need to worry about the UI, because whenever we start application, first thing we think about, okay, we need to create the UI, then we need to write the business logic. So with Azure Workbench, you don't need to write any UI, because you just need to write your business logic and deploy on Azure Workbench. And it is very secure in terms of because all the data and is secured on Azure, and there is it is linked with your Active Directory or identity. So yeah, it is quite secure in terms of that. And you don't need to develop an API for your whole blockchain consortium network. Means like you don't need to manage all those things, because when you provision Azure Workbench, the APIs will become additional as a part. So API management will be also provisioned with the Azure Workbench. And currently what is happening, suppose you have a existing blockchain platform, which is and you want to talk to, like you are writing some Node.js app or React app, and you want to talk to blockchain network. So you need some intermediary parties, like as I gave example, like Web3.js or Ether.js. But for this, you don't need any mediator. You just can directly deploy your app on the Azure Workbench. Yeah, and the off-chain storage. That is a very good part of Azure Workbench and Azure Blockchain as a Service, because you can store your data in your SQL Server database and Cosmos DB, and it will be and power. You can display the reports in Power BI. It's really helpful in terms of off-chain storage. Yeah. So this is a setup process of Azure Workbench. First of all, you need to set up a Ethereum network, and then you need to register a AD tenant. Why we need AD tenant? Because in blockchain network, because it's a kind of a private blockchain network, or you can say consortium. So in that, you know the party. So whoever is performing the transaction on the blockchain network, even though there are some external parties, but you will be you will allow external parties on your AD network. So you need to register AD tenant, and then you have to deploy your Azure Workbench or applications. So in high level, you can see the architecture looks like something like this. You have any client apps, and previously there used to be a blockchain network, which is replaced by Azure Workbench. And what it will help to expose the API, public APIs and private APIs, and client apps will consume those APIs, and they will perform the transactions on the Azure Workbench. And Azure Workbench will maintain your smart contracts, your application services, and SQL Server. Let me show you in 1 minute. Yeah, so this is something like when you deploy your Azure Workbench, you will get Swagger APIs. Yeah, let me show you first the demo side, how exactly it looks. If anyone have any questions until here.
I think our guest will ask their question after your session.
Sure. Okay, sure. Thanks. So this is means Microsoft Azure. So what we can do is we need to go for the blockchain. If you want to create a simple prototype and you have no idea how it was, how to start, so you just go and create a Azure Workbench, because Azure Workbench is very helpful for means creating your prototype and integrating with the existing app. Okay. In this scenario, means I need to provide my resource details. So means you can create some resource group, and you need to provide which region you are going to provision, and resource prefix. Suppose you want to give some like demo, and your VM username. Authentication type, you want to authenticate with your password or SSH key. This is interesting part, like a blockchain database and blockchain password. What it means is database and blockchain password, it will be helpful because whenever we are going to create a workbench, it will provision some resources. In that there will be SQL Server also. So this password is for your SQL Server. And so if whatever the password you are entering here, if you want to see the transaction data, you need to give the same password. And there will be a deployment region where exactly you are going to deploy. Then there will be advanced settings. Advanced settings is like create new and use existing in the network. What it means is if you are going to create a consortium by yourself, so you will be the admin for the whole network. So that is, then you have to choose for the create new. But if you are going for use existing, so this is used, suppose if you have any existing Ethereum uh, blockchain which is already in your hosted somewhere in your company or somewhere, and you want to join that consortium, like because there are already some group of companies and they have their blockchain available, and you want to join that group. So that is also possible. You can provide the RPC endpoints, Ethereum RPC endpoints, and you can join the group. Let me show you what will be the Ethereum RPC endpoints. So yeah, this is basically your access keys, or you can say this will be your Ethereum RPC endpoint. So whenever you will provide, so miss it will be same for if you have any existing blockchain available, because I have already deployed one Azure blockchain as a service. So that's why I can join that network also by providing the Ethereum RPC endpoints. And then I told earlier in my slides, we need, this is the first step of configuring your Ethereum network. So whenever you will do the review and create, it will configure your blockchain Azure Workbench. It will take almost 30 to 45 minutes to configure because it creates a lot of resources. So, and there is also available for is what the tiers you want to use. There are a couple of tiers. I am using for dev and test. I think you can use one CPU, and it's costs around 104 something. Yeah, no, 48 something dollars per month. It's quite cheap. And but this is for your single ledger node. Means like suppose you are one tenant, means, and you want to use Azure Workbench. So this is for the single ledger. But if you are going to add more people, obviously you need to scale up this network. So in going forward, I will show how exactly we can scale up this network. So this will provision a single ledger node, and you need to, sorry, you need to then later on in second step, you need to configure your Active Directory. Yeah, I have already provisioned blockchain workbench. So let me show you what are the resources after provisioning it looks like. So you can see here, I have, this is my app service, which is my Azure Workbench. And there's also a provision of APIs, which is for Azure Workbench API. Let me show how exactly it looks. So when you deploy the Azure Workbench, you can see here, you don't need to write your any web UI or something. So this is already predefined available, and I can deploy any blockchain app by providing their configuration file and smart contracts. I will show how exactly happens. And these are the members which is available in my Active Directory. So this, after configuring your Active Directory in the second step, so you can add the members in your Active Directory. Those members will be appearing here. And after configuring your Active Directory, only your deployment for the Azure Workbench will be completed. And then you can deploy your apps. So let me show quickly how exactly it looks like. Like I have asset transfer. So currently I have performed a couple of transactions here. So this is like a consortium I have created. In that I have added a few members, which is like a demo 1, demo 2, demo 3. These are the different parties, which is different organizations, and they are also part of my consortium. They are performing the transactions, like they will log in into their app. Suppose this is demo 1. I want to show. Let me log in for demo 1. So this is my demo 1 account. So this is the other user, means other organizations which will be seeing this UI. And let me perform. Suppose I want to sell some means bikes, and the cost is $2,000. So the transaction is being performed on this blockchain. Why it is taking time? Because it is checking the previous transaction history. Means your so you can see here the contract, who have created the contract, how it was initiated, what was the contract address, and who is the owner for this. You can see now. If I refresh here, let me show you how exactly. So this is the first, I am the seller. Now the demo 1 is a buyer. So let me log in with the demo 1. Yeah, so you can see here the transaction was initiated by me and for bikes, and the asking price was $2,000. So now I want to offer a price of suppose 1,800. I want to make an offer, and I want to choose inspector, means like who will verify my transaction, demo 3, and appraiser who will approve my transactions, and they will be like 1,800. So miss I offered the price of 1,800. So if you can see here, so the transaction is being performed. So this is a case like in our current scenario, like in our organizations, what it was is we made a blockchain application for one simple LC credit process, letter of credit for the supply chain. And in that there was parties, like I have a party, like I'm the owner, and there is a buyer, and there is a seller, and there is appraiser. So in that scenario, we used to have two nodes. One was for the bank, and one was for the customer. So what it was is like customers was your importer and exporter, and they used to fill the form uh, like that. They used to fill all the details for the forms, initiate the transactions, and they used to choose the means banks whom they have to approve. So like in the demo 1, I can take action and can choose the parties. So we used to choose the banks who will verify the transactions and who will be the verifying node, and whatever the parties are there, so we can choose. And then the process used to be initiated. So see, so in that scenario also, if you can see in asset transfer, we have a seller, we have a buyer, and there are inspector and appraiser. So what it would in active state, what happens is the transaction is being initiated and offer is being placed by the means by the seller, and then buyer will make a offer price, and he will perform the transaction. Then he will choose the inspector and appraiser. They will verify that they will provide the approval process. So this whole process is suppose my app is when I initiated the transactions for creating the app. So all the parties will know that transaction was initiated. So all the parties, if you can see here, like Honor or Demo 1 or Demo 2 or Demo 3, all are on the same blockchain network. So they will be notified that transaction is being initiated, and they can see in the real time the history, who have performed the transactions and how it is done. The good thing is all the transactions is being linked to the previous transactions, so you can see the history of the transaction like audit trail, and it is all the transactions are being hashed, with the, so that's why it is more secure. So suppose I want to see this transactions on my SQL Server database. So that's what is the really good thing which what Microsoft is providing is there is a SQL Server also they are initiating. So you can see in the SQL Server, you can just go in the query editor, and you can see all the transaction contract details, who whatever the contracts are being performed, and who are the users. So you can see all those such details here. And this data you can also display in your Power BI report or your any kind of reporting purpose you can display. So that's a really good thing. The second resources is for your API. So let me show the API part. API is very helpful if you have your existing app and you want to integrate your existing app. Suppose this is my API endpoints. So I want to see that how many users are there, and so let me show. Sorry. So this was my API. Actually, I have already initiated for. Okay, my token is expired. So what I can do, I can just go. So this is the bearer token. Actually, I haven't configured my token in my Postman. So you can configure this. But in when you are going for your consuming this API with your any client app, your .NET app, or so this bearer token or like authorization, you need to manage from your side. So you need to integrate, like it's the same as how we do for the APIs. Let me see if it works. Just give me a second because I think my token is still not valid. Yeah, I think maybe I will skip this part and will. So basically, what we do is we'll communicate with the APIs. If you want to communicate with your APIs, so you have you can get all the details like of your transactions, like I have done for my contracts, and you can see here I have the details of the contracts, and you need to interact with your Active Directory. You need to provide your tokens details, and then it will be you can use the API Swagger APIs. Okay, so and the second thing is they also provide, suppose you want to send an email, means like when your contract is being initiated, or when means any approval is done from one party, and so second party should receive an email. So what it happens is they provides, means Microsoft Azure is also providing logic apps connectors. So if you can see here, let me just create a one simple app. In the logic apps, you can see there are predefined templates. You want to publish this data to a SQL server, or you want to means publish the smart contracts by using event grid, or means you want to display the data into your Power BI report, or by using microservice. So there are a couple of means logic apps already available. So what it will help you means it will provide you a template, predefined templates. So whatever the transactions you are being performed on the blockchain network, so it will capture the event, and then you can see the data on Power BI report. You just need to provide the connections. Yeah, so this was something like if you want to create a blockchain app, a prototype. So you need to just write your business logic in smart contracts, and you can what you can do is let me show that example as well. So suppose this, so this is my two, like one is my configuration file, and second is my smart contracts. So after uploading the configuration file, I need to upload my smart contracts. So if I have already one app available, so it will update my means version, like I have 1.1, and if it is the same version, so it will show you this app is already deployed. And if your version is updated, and if you have made any kind of changes, so the versioning is also maintained here. So let me explain what exactly the configuration file exactly looks like. In configuration file, first of all, you need to maintain the metadata, means what it is about. This transition is this is asset transfer app, and so you have to specify your metadata, and what are the roles you are being performed, means like I am in my contract there was appraiser, buyer, and owner, inspector, and how many workflows, like is it for means creating, and means what type of transactions you are doing. So all your states you need to define in workflows, and that will be your JSON file, and then you have to write your smart contract logic, which will be on Ethereum. So so this is my for creating a simple blockchain app by using Azure Workbench. Let me show you quickly. I think I'm already so if you can, but you first of all you need to install IBM blockchain, sorry, Azure
Service.
blockchain template. Azure Blockchain Development Kit. So there is Azure Blockchain Development Kit. Blockchain Development Kit. Yeah. So this is Blockchain Development Kit which I have already installed. So if you have already installed, then it will provide you option for creating your Solidity project, because this is the Ethereum based client. So by default the language will be Solidity. So you can choose a project, and then it will give you an option for creating a new project, or if you want to try from some truffle boxes, just like there are predefined templates or some examples available, so you can choose that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new project. So I need to provide the link for my means, yeah. So you can see here, you don't need to download so many tools. You just install one extension, and all the projects and everything will be created. And in the left hand side, it will also helps to provide means you can connect to blockchain network and can deploy your app. So what it will let me just disconnect and show you how it connects. So once you click on this, it will ask you Azure Blockchain as a Service. You need to provide your Azure subscription. And suppose I am using this Azure Blockchain. Yeah. So I can connect to this is my Azure Blockchain Service and consortium and member. I will show how we create Azure Blockchain Service. So you need to understand this Azure Blockchain Development Kit and Azure Blockchain Service is different completely. But the thing is, when we provision Azure Blockchain Workbench, it also initiate one resources Azure Blockchain as a service. So why it is from version 1.7, they have provided the integration of Azure Blockchain Service and Azure Workbench. Why? Because there was an issue that the this storage was being failed for Azure Workbench. So what Azure Blockchain Service, what it helps is it helps to scale up your blockchain app. So when you provision Azure Blockchain as a Service, so you want to scale up your blockchain application, you can add as many transaction node as you want. So suppose I have created a one blockchain prototype app by using Azure Workbench, and later I want to move to production, and I want to add more transaction node. More transaction node is useful for, suppose you want to add more companies on your blockchain platform, so you have to add more transaction node. So in that scenario, so you can use Azure Blockchain Service and add as many transaction node as you want. So this is very helpful in terms of scaling, and it also helps to provide capabilities of blockchain data manager. So suppose you have any IoT app and you want to integrate with your blockchain network. So Azure Data Manager helps to provide a capability to capture all the blockchain data, all the data events, and process through event grid to the blockchain network. So you can, but currently Blockchain Data Manager, because I have configured in Southeast Asia region, so it is only available in East US and West Europe region because it's still in a preview mode. Yeah, so maybe in future it will be available for Southeast Asia as well. So if you can see here in Azure Blockchain Resources, there is a Azure Blockchain Service also available. So this Azure Blockchain Service helps to scale up your network. So you want to deploy a blockchain app. So what I have done, I have created my blockchain application, and you can see here they are providing option for building the contract. You don't need to write your command prompt. If you're not very familiar with the command prompt, you don't need to worry. It will provide you option for building the smart contracts, and it will also help to provide your deploying the smart contracts. So let me show. So you can choose which blockchain service you want to deploy, and I'm deploying first time, so I need to create a mnemonic. This is helpful for retrieving your credentials later. So So my contract is being deployed. Let me show. So you can see here, my contract is being deployed, and after deploying the contract, I will get the contract address. And this contract address will be very helpful when you want to means integrate this. Suppose if any transaction you want to perform any transaction on this blockchain network, and after that you want to execute some event. So this contract address will be helpful. Let me show you how exactly it will be helpful. And in blockchain, they are also providing the services to create a logic apps from here itself. So you can see here, generate data publishing workflow for the smart contracts, which is for suppose if you want to perform any transaction on the blockchain, and that action need to execute some transaction by using logic app to the SQL server. So that is you can generate the logic app directly. I need to provide my contract address, because when this contract will be executed, then only it will perform that transaction. So I can choose my demo SQL logic app, and you can see my logic app is already being created and with the database. So I can also do for the microservices, like there are option for generate microservices. So I can create for the logic app, same logic apps for this smart contract for the microservice as well. So you can see here the service is also generated, and I have in my smart contracts, I have functions for sending request and sending response. So I have done for this address. Let me just quickly create for this. You can see how it is simple. You can just go and create one logic app. And make sure whenever you are deploying your logic app, so your workbench means region and your logic app region should be same. Otherwise it will give you error, because I think they are still not supported. So yeah, so what we need to do, we just need to go, and this is my for the, suppose I'm going for this request message. So this all the JSON data I will copy here, and you can see in the connection, my connection is my logic app is being created. I'm getting a request, and then I'm being processed, means I'm going to execute the contracts. So let me provide the new connection. New connection will be, I have deployed this Azure Workbench on consortium demo. Okay. So my sorry. Today I'm getting actually some problem in there was consortium demo workbench. So this is my member account. I need to provide this member account while creating the logic app. I'm creating here. This is my member account address. I need to provide this. And after that, because this is my transaction node, as I told earlier, for providing the, this is my RPC endpoints. I'll close this for being confused. Okay. So I need to provide this RPC endpoints and app connection 3. So you can see here my contract API is being created, and yeah. After saving this, the HTTP my host URL will be generated, and I want to Now I want to execute this logic app from by consuming from API. So let me just host. So this API will be means whenever any transaction will be performed on the blockchain network, this logic app will be executed, and you can write your own logic. Suppose you want to trigger an email, or you want to push this data to blockchain means SQL Server database, or you want to do any kind of transaction, so you can do with the help of logic app. Let me see. Oh, it's taking time. Yeah, so let me jump until quickly my. So you can see here, I have for suppose if you want to create a logic app for your inserting data into database. So the same response I can put into SQL Server database. So this data will be processed into SQL Server database. And this is an overall picture for Azure Blockchain as Service. So what Azure Blockchain as Service do is suppose if you have any IoT data or any unstructured data. So with the help of means logic app or event grid, it processes this data into means blockchain service, and blockchain data manager in the blockchain Azure Blockchain as Service, it captures all the data and process into your Power BI report or SQL Server report or MySQL, yeah, or you want to perform any machine learning algorithms, you can do that. So we have seen that how we have created the smart contracts by using Azure Blockchain Development Kit, how we have deployed you from Azure Blockchain Development Kit from here. And in the demo also we have seen how we can generate a blockchain logic apps for you can just right click and you can generate any logic apps, and we can deploy the logic apps on Azure to, I think there is some today some network issue, some this is there. Yeah, so how we can deploy the logic app on Azure to perform to trigger any actions. I think Southeast Asia region today there is some problem because I'm trying to deploy in evening also I was getting this kind of issue. Yeah. Anyone have any questions until here? I'm almost yeah, done. There are some useful links actually if you want to know more about the blockchain. So there are some courses available on EDX. So you can just go on EDX platform. Let me show. Yeah, these are the courses to know the basics about the blockchain fundamentals, and this is also for more about the business users. But if you want to learn more about the coding part, there's a Blockchain Geeks platform. So it helps you can learn Solidity language or more about Ethereum platform. Yeah, on this. And Microsoft is also providing some blockchain Azure blockchain samples. So let me show. Yeah. So Azure Workbench, there are some samples for your means creating your prototype, for your authentication, for your REST APIs, and for integration your existing apps like IoT or Office 365. So yeah, those things you can refer here. So any questions?
Yes, Asif bhai.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your session. There are a few questions in message box, chat box.
Oh,
Can I
okay. Yeah. For the can we use our own AD prem without creating AD on Azure? Yeah, you can create your AD on-prem, and then you can also, that's actually the good thing because if you are creating your own AD on-prem, but you are going to consume the APIs, and so identities you can configure on your means AD. You can map your identities from your on-prem AD to your means like whenever you are going to deploy the Azure Workbench, or because anyhow you have to deploy Azure Workbench. So while you deploy the Azure Workbench, so there is let me show quickly. There is also option for allow external users like for your SQL Server database. So because whenever you will open the firewall settings, so you have to allow the external users. Oh, sorry. Let me show my. In this. Yeah, so whenever you're going for exposing, so you can allow your suppose any external parties are there, so you can add a permissions by using, you can grant whatever the permissions you want from here. So if you have any on-prem AD and you want to integrate with your, obviously you need to integrate with your, because whenever you are going to perform any transactions on the blockchain network, so you should have a certain roles and permissions. So those things you need to map with your existing on-prem AD. Because currently whenever you will perform a blockchain Azure Workbench, so it will only means provision a read profiles access. But if you are going to perform like a blockchain transactions for creating the contract or something, so those permissions you have to be allowed, and those permissions you need to miss whoever have provisioned the Azure Workbench, so they need to, for the API level, they need to add the permissions from here. Like I have added for my blockchain API, and by default there will be only read permissions available.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Asif bhai, I have a
And
question actually.
yeah,
What about interoperability? I mean, how can I interoperable with other blockchain provider?
that's currently with the means APIs, because suppose, but still there are few limitations with that, because suppose you have any assets and any such transactions like in terms of cryptocurrency, and if it is a closed network, because most probably it will be a closed network for Azure, because all the parties which are involved in this will be registered with your AD, means either as a means on AD or as a external users. Okay, so in that scenario, means either you are going for Hyperledger or Corda or any other ledger, so you have to consume the APIs, because there are REST APIs by default, so you have to consume APIs. But Azure Blockchain as a service, as of now, they are not providing APIs, but surely that will be in future. They will provide the APIs as well for that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And how many ledgers can we create on the Azure Workbench? Uh, Actually, ledgers, because this is a single ledger network, but if you have to scale up your network, so you have to scale up, means like you have to add the transaction node on your Azure blockchain as a service, as I showed, because whenever you provision blockchain workbench, so there is Azure blockchain as a service also there. Yeah, this one. So you have to add the transaction node, how many organizations you want to add. So that will be like a multi-party system. So you can add up multiple transaction nodes, and based on that, they will get the access. So transaction nodes are nothing but like organizations. Yeah. And are the APIs inbuilt? Yes, it is currently inbuilt for Azure Workbench, but for Azure Blockchain as a Service, as of now, no. But yeah, in future might be that feature, because obviously whenever we are going to interact means with any external parties, we need APIs. So yeah, because both are still in preview mode, so that's it. And what kind of authentication is being used? They are providing a couple of authentication, like they're by using OAuth or a bearer token and API key. So a couple of options, if you can see in Postman, actually all the authentication they are providing is, I am using bearer token, but you can use OAuth also, because OAuth is widely used for that. Any other questions if you have? Thanks a lot. Yeah. So thanks, bhai. Thanks a lot for providing the opportunity. Yeah, if you have any questions, because this is was more on Azure related, but apart from that, there are a couple of other things like for AWS also they are providing a lot of good things. Yeah. So yeah, you can actually I have if any of you are interested, so maybe you can for means how exactly means you will push the data to your SQL Server database, your generate your Power BI reports. I have written the blogs and with the my means video tutorials also, so you can refer. This is my asifwakar.com is my actually my blog site.
Thank you.
So yeah, you can refer. Sorry for I think it's a bit over time.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
And thanks for the
So,
session. And it's a collaboration event with other community.
yeah.
Hopefully,
So
in next day,
yeah,
we can.
sure. You are also invited in our communities anytime for your session and something. So if you guys are interested in how exactly you will
Right.
provision Azure Workbench, because it's a quite long process, so you can just refer a blog I have written with the video tutorials. Yeah. And second is like logic apps, how you can perform actions. So yeah, that's also available. And how we'll push the data into SQL Server database, everything is there. Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Asan bhai. Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks. Yeah. If
Thank you.
anything, just you can have any questions, you can just email to me or yeah, you can reach me on Twitter. Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a
Okay.
lot.
Thank you.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Okay, we have reached at the end of our session. Thank you everybody for joining and making the session successful. Thank you everyone and Allah Hafiz. See you in our next session.